So, which waifu is the best in Persona 5?
I'd say it's Makoto.
Makoto, yes. Well, it's my first choice also, but only because she was the first girl I romanced. And so I was like, because she was the first just in time. And when I reached the other girls, I really wanted to cheat because I have several waifus, but I just couldn't cheat on them. So I stick with Makoto.
Oh, you stuck with that?
Yes, so I didn't cheat because what Persona 5 did so great is that I really felt for the characters and I just couldn't betray them. Especially Futaba, who's also in the best girl category. And when I knew that the Valentine's Day was like Futaba having a breakdown because of your cheating, I was like, shit, I can't do this. I can't cheat. so I stick with Makoto, but yeah, well, to say I have three best girls, which is Makoto, Futaba, and Hifumi.
Well, this is too bad because I really wanted to know. I didn't cheat either, and I wanted to know how bad you felt when you cheated on them and Valentine's Day happened.
I just saw it on YouTube beforehand because in Persona 5, it didn't really do anything. It didn't punish you. You could
Really?
The only thing they did is every girl you dated asked you, why aren't you doing anything with your girlfriend on Valentine's Day? So they gave you your bad conscience, to make you feel bad, but you still dated the girl you chose. So it wasn't really that dramatic. You felt bad for a short while, but after that you had your date and you forgot the other girl. So it was kind of unfair. Persona 3 actually punished you for cheating. So if you were caught cheating, it would ruin your social links and you lose 2 levels with each girl.
So, okay, that's a punishment.
So that actually encouraged you to stick with one girl or just plan so they never meet. So you can cheat, and if you're clever enough, they're never going to meet. But you have, of course, a danger.
My God.
Because you have these random dates where 2 different social links meet, and if it's both girls that you date, then there's the danger that you slip up and they notice that you're cheating.
This is too bad.
Well, it's how it should be. Actually, it should punish you more.
Yes, it's how it should be. And I was hoping for. I wasn't watching this on YouTube beforehand because I wanted to ask you, but I'm going to watch it. The thing I really was looking forward to is how the different girls approach you and you just get destroyed in like a super funny scene or something.
But the thing is, you're still not punished by it because Sojiro is such a smooth badass. He fixes up everything after they beat you to a pulp. And gives you a little chocolate after that.
Oh, come on.
But
Sojiro.
Yeah, Sojiro's best mother. He's definitely...
Oh, Sojiro's best mother. Okay, this is the perfect time to start our podcast. Welcome, guys, to our very first... I just wanted to say Persona 5 podcast. No. This is the Our Waifu is Better Than Yours podcast. Yes, you heard that right. Our Waifu is Better Than Yours. This is our podcast. Welcome. My name is Sammy, and I have with me here Wraith.
Welcome, you filthy plebs. Well,
filthy plebs.
Yes.
Oh, you're starting this thing off good.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you know which roles we serve. I'm the bad cop. I'm the anime elitist. How do you say it? I'm the
elitist. Yeah, you are the elitist. I can see that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You should just say, of course you're wrong. You're not that bad. No, I'm just joking. I don't mind. I hate a lot of popular stuff, and I also like a lot of popular stuff. It's not like I hate everything. Yeah, but a lot of things people love.
Wait, Wraith. If you're the bad guy, does that make me the good guy?
Yes.
Oh my God! I didn't see that coming. Wow. Okay, so I guess I'm the good guy.
Well, just in the dynamic between us, you're the good guy. Doesn't mean you're really the good guy. It's just in the sense of the story.
So in reality, we're both bad guys.
It's much like Persona 5, you know. In the story, your main character is a good guy, but he's actually an anti-hero. So
yes, he's an anti-hero, yeah.
So he's not the completely good guy. So in that sense, you're the good guy. But we live in a world that's obviously black and white, so there's no in between. You know that nowadays.
Really, there's yeah. There are all different kind of gray zones. So yeah, with that said and done, please follow us on Twitter. Wraith at Fluffy Wraith, right?
You already want to make a commercial intro for our social media?
I mean, well, where are people gonna find us after this podcast?
This
is all said
just
and done?
let them listen first to know what they're getting into, and then tell them social media, because people who stick.
We can do that afterwards.
People who stick so long until the podcast is done are going to follow us. I assume because they're interested in it. So
okay. Okay, maybe that will work. Yeah.
You sound very unsure. You need to show confidence.
No. Just I am confident. I think this is going to be great. We are off to a great start, at least. So yeah, this is our very first podcast. We are both a little new to this whole podcast thing, so
not entirely. I may have done one in German once, but it wasn't so great, so I didn't talk about it beforehand.
You know what? I was recording one last year for the E3. It was a special podcast for the E3. It never went live. It was with a friend of mine. It wasn't German, and it was a great talk. But we talked like 4 hours, man. It was crazy. Like my throat was hurting afterwards.
Yeah,
but it was interesting.
I think it's the first time thing when you just go on too long. So, but now without more anecdotes, let's get into the news first before we will dedicate ourselves to Persona 5, or how I like to call it, Best Girl 5.
Best Girl 5, yeah, this is a good name. I wish the game would have gotten this name in Germany.
A subtitle, Persona 5,
Best Girl. Yeah, Persona 5, Best Girl 5. Yeah, the thing is, we're going to talk a lot about manga, anime. This is what this channel is all about. But we're going to talk a little bit, not in this podcast particularly, but we're going to talk games stuff, generally more in I mean, yeah, E3 is just around the corner, and I bet when E3 is all said and done, we are going to talk about E3 too, and all different kind of games that makes us that excites us, that gets us hyped for the future. But for now, we are sticking more to manga and anime, and this is what this podcast is more about. This is primarily about this kind of stuff, and
basically, we are just filthy weeps.
Yes, we are filthy weeps, crazy weeaboos, and we are going to talk about Persona in this podcast. We're going to have a spoiler segment later, where we go all out on it. And yeah, we talk about Persona like it's in manga and anime, because it is.
yeah, I don't disagree. Shin Megami Tensei in general, so the entire franchise, which Persona is a part of, is basically one huge anime franchise. There's not much difference. There's gameplay in it, but that's all that makes it a bit different from the usual stuff.
I mean, the whole game is set up like an anime TV show for a whole season, you know. So it really feels like you are watching an anime with more fighting. It's really cool.
But let's get over with the two news that really interest us and probably interest you as well.
Yes, we had a few news coming in from this or last week. Before we recorded this, we had two news. The first one was about the Weekly Shonen Jump. Everyone who reads manga knows this name. So Ray, tell us what happened.
Well, I should tell it. Well, it's simple actually. The sales are dropping really fast. Shonen Jump, which was the best-selling, which still is the best-selling manga book in Japan, or book or magazine.
By far,
is really dropping in sales, and especially all these endless shonen shit series are starting to end because they're not selling anymore. One Piece is lost 1 million sales recently compared to the year before, which just goes to show that people finally started to get bored of endless shonen manga. Which is funny if you think about it, because 20 years ago, around that time, One Piece, Naruto, and Co. started. So after 20 years, people are now tired of endless shonen crap.
Endless shonen crap. Yeah, you say that just right. The thing is, there are these 3 magazines, right? Weekly Shonen Magazine, Weekly Shonen Jump, Weekly Shonen Sunday. And Weekly Shonen Sunday, as of now, is doing like 100,000 less 100,000 less quote unquote sales than last year. No, than 2014. I just have this list up here. And Weekly Shonen Jump was on January to March 2014, it was at 2.7 million sales, and now it's at 1.9 million, which is still a lot for a manga magazine. Don't get me wrong, but the drop is high.
Extreme decrease in sales.
Yes. And the one thing, the Weekly Shonen magazine is not even at 1 million sales anymore. It was at 1.2 million a few years ago, and now it dropped to 946 million. Thousand.
Yeah.
Which is it's a decrease, of course.
It just I think it's a nice implications what that has, because people are actually getting tired of the same shit, and will force the magazine to do much newer stuff and be more willing to risk something, because many of the new mangas that were launched in this endeavor was because of the decreasing sales. Like even the manga you want to talk about later, Dr. Stone, is just one of the mangas launched to counter these effects. And most of these mangas will be much shorter than the usual long-running Shonen Jump series, which I think is really nice, because you did get to a conclusion much faster and doesn't feel as stretched and unnecessary long sometimes. Of course, some shows still well.
That's the key word here, right? That's the key word here. Unnecessary long. This is the thing. I mean, some mangas, you read them, and you know from the start, okay, this is going to be an adventure, like One Piece, right? This is going to be an adventure. This is going to last for super long. Whereas in other mangas, you don't necessarily see that from the start. When you start reading Bleach, you know that's a fighting shonen, right? This is going to be long, but how long is it actually going to be? How long is it going to stay interesting? And I think the drop in sales might be because some of those mangas they took their time too long, and they didn't really offer anything for it. Let's say Toriko, for example. I really love Toriko. Shonen Jump manga, right? Really didn't have great sales in Japan. Dropped in the rankings, in the Weekly Shonen Jump rankings, very, very far down. It was too bad, it was unfortunate. But the story was going on in a way that people didn't really like. It was going in crazy ways, It wasn't like you started off with a very how should I say it? You didn't start off with the main protagonist who's weak from the start, and he's going up there, and you see him learning. You start off with a guy who's already like super strong. and you only see him getting stronger and stronger. This is what I saw most people turned off. I think that's too unfortunate because I think that was a great idea from the start, but it didn't really deliver in the longer terms, in the longer years.
For me, it was hard to get to Toriko. It didn't really interest me. It had too much of a Dragon Ball vibe. It also had a Fist of the North Star vibe, but I feel the goofiness from Dragon Ball did put me off too much to be interested in Toriko too much. And Toriko lost just plain and simple. Toriko lost completely against Shokugeki no Soma.
Oh yeah.
And I still read that manga, even though not as interested in it anymore as I used to be. But that show has certain, in certain aspects, is just superior to Toriko.
Yes, it is superior. I can agree to that. But the things. What I really don't like to see is. And this is kind of a trend now, is it? It's about people just succumb to fan service way too much. I'm saying this super serious. This is like Toriko didn't have any of that shit, right? You didn't have any boob shots or anything. I loved that. I finally some manga that doesn't do that. Shokugeki no Soma is so hardcore with it, and people love it. I mean, okay, yeah, do it.
But I think the difference is that Shokugeki no Soma does it well. It does fan service so over the top that it gives you a new facet, an interesting new point of view. Because for one thing, the artist used to be a porn artist, so his artworks are great.
This is new to me. Holy shit!
A lot of manga artists are actually porn artists. There's another one I don't. But yeah, the Shokugeki no Soma artist used to be Tosh, who did porn. So he did doujinshis. So and that's why he's so good at drawing this stuff, of course. But I think
he's doing it. He's doing it for a comedic effect too, right? So it's not that bad. It's not not like fairy tale bad, where it's like just...
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think the problem is that most fan service is just so blatant, thrown in your face, that you don't get aroused. This shit is there, but it's not really made good. I don't have much problem with fan service. It just has to have a purpose. Or at least story and characters have to stand above fan service, and not the other way around. So fan service above story and characters. If it's a show only about fan service, that's okay, but it's really dangerous to be entirely focused on that.
It's very I'm not going to be this way, like all fan service is bad, because it would just be pretending, because I have so many mangas here on my shelves which prove me wrong on this. I do like some fan service to some degree. Sunken Rock, for example, has some very, very hard fan service, and I love it in this part because actually it's written out very well. It's not coming from nowhere. And it's it has something to do with the story. Also, its art is just fantastic. Holy shit, Boichi is just. I'm going to talk later about Boichi more, but holy shit. Yeah, so that's the thing. I also another thing is I think the mangas in Weekly Shonen Jump aren't as interesting as they were 20 years ago. Just because of the fact that Kochikame is done now, right?
Yeah.
A lot of great mangas are done now. I'm very happy that Naruto actually finished. I'm not very happy that Boruto is a thing now.
Yeah, actually Boruto is supposed to be better quality, but the main problem... I agree. The main problems that Naruto has will be still there in Boruto. But that's a whole different podcast. Naruto can fill one podcast alone.
We can, one day we will talk about Naruto. I'm standing my ground right here. We are going to talk about Naruto. We are crushing that shit. I don't give a God damn it.
But Naruto is a good example. At the beginning, where it wasn't successful, it had still interesting arcs. Like the Zabuza arc, I still think is a good arc, which had a lot of character development.
You know what? I want to make this as quick as possible, okay? Here's the thing. I started out loving Naruto. Then it wasn't hate love. Then it was hate. Then it was I don't care anymore. And then it was finally it's ending. This is what my line with Naruto is.
That fits me rather well, but I think loving and hating, I didn't have that in-between status. I just felt embarrassing that this was one of my first shows. I'm so happy that my first Japanese anime was Guns. That I remembered that I watched Guns before I watched Naruto in Japanese. Just because Guns was always airing so late and I couldn't stay up. So I watched Guns in Japanese without knowing that it was Japanese. I just wanted to finish the show. So I'm so glad that Naruto wasn't my first Japanese anime. So like I can write that off my conscience. That Naruto was not my first show. By the way, I think that should be the title of this podcast. I'm so glad Naruto.
What exactly?
You're so okay. I'm so glad Naruto wasn't my first Japanese anime.
Okay, that's a great name. Maybe we have a better one later, but for now this is the one that we'll go for. Okay, so this is the thing about Shonen Jump, right? It's dropping in sales. It's not dead. Nowhere near dead. It's still selling pretty well. Not just not as well as it did a few years ago.
Shonen Jump just milked its series way too much, but I think they're doing something great. They launched many new mangas that are not greatly focused on ecchi, but on different kind of stories. Super Eye Patch Wolf did a great video about the current state of Shonen Jump. I recommend it. I think we will link it in the description. Where he mentions all the new shows that were launched. So I think Shonen Jump does try to make something different, and that's a good thing. And that's always what I'm saying. When you attack their sales, it will change the behavior of people, of the creators, because many people accept that shit. For example, that's what I hate about Digimon Adventure 3. It's so low quality, and it's fucking Digimon. It can be good quality, but because
my God, I can't believe how bad quality it is.
But because it is released instantly as a Blu-ray, and people buy it because they want to know how it goes on, I get that feeling. But if it was a television series, you could just force them to make better quality by not buying their Blu-rays until they fix this shit. And that's a huge problem that Shonen Jump had as well. And another problem is that if they get a popular anime adaptation, some shows are just stretched to make the most of it. The best example is Attack on Titan. I read that up to date, and so many chapters feel so wasted. Since it's monthly, you only get one chapter a month, and filler arcs or just chapters that stretch something which is easily explained in a few pages way too much. The whole background story with the Titans, which was currently in the manga, was so unnecessarily long, so that I really didn't care that much. And I feel like because it's getting so popular, the author is also making changes in just how dark it's supposed to be. But that's also an example for a whole different video. But I just think that's two other really annoying problems with current shonen shows.
Well, another thing is that you just brought up Attack on Titan, right? I haven't started watching the second season yet. I'm really looking forward to doing that in a few days. The thing is, what I have heard is that they are skipping out boring parts of the manga, and I love that idea. I'm really looking forward to not having 10 episodes in a fucking prison or where was that at the trial.
Let's say the show is definitely much more fast paced than the first season, which I hated in the first season.
Thank God.
It could still be a bit faster, but it isn't insultingly slow paced like the first season.
This is great. This is super great because the manga has a lot of pacing problems, and I'm saying that from a standpoint like a manga. It's really hard for a manga to have a bad pacing because you're just reading it. You can read it at your own pace and just enjoy the story, right? But sometimes a manga like Bleach, where nothing happens in 3 to 7 chapters, that's super bad pacing.
Bleach was this funny example. It had the same structure every time. One chapter is explosions and fight and explosions. One chapter is talking, and the third chapter is someone turning the head around because of some reveal. Right. And that is the basic structure that Bleach later adopted.
I love that. It's because don't get me wrong. I hate Bleach because of this. I wasn't paying attention for years for the last few years before it's finished, just because it didn't go anywhere. I could start from a year later, read the whole thing in about an hour, and be at the same conclusion as I was before. Nothing is happening. I hated it. But the thing is, there was a time, just like for Naruto, I loved it, and then the pacing started to suck, and the story was really not there. And this is another thing with Shonen Jump, right? A lot of Shonen Jump long-running mangas for the last decade, they started off strong, and then they got worse and worse. But that's what I say. Like Naruto, like Bleach.
That's what I say. They are artificially getting stretched out because they got popular. That's what I said just before. That's the main problem, because it makes money, and just look at the shitty adaptations. I don't like One Piece, but one thing we can agree on is that the anime for the most part is shit, because it gets stretched out unnecessarily long parts. Except maybe the final fight.
I can't disagree with that. The manga, since it takes a very long time for Oda to put these chapters out, because he's definitely sick. He's not feeling well. He's doing this under very hard circumstances. He's sleeping for like 3 hours a day or something.
That's not just a problem with Oda. That's just a general problem of the industry.
Yes, right.
But I think our next podcast should be all about Shonen Jump, Shonen series, because we are now really spending a ridiculous amount of time talking about endless Shonen series.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to say about the whole One Piece thing. Yes, the anime is not deserving. Is not serving pretty well, because they don't want the anime studio behind it doesn't want to put that much filler into the show, which I like, which is generally a good idea. But that also means that they have to do a very boring pacing, where you have to watch 5 episodes just to get one thing done, to move to the next. That's why I'm sticking to the manga in One Piece, of course. I can't stand watching 1 episode per week when nothing happens.
In a lot of aspects, I disagree with you, but I really think we should leave that for an entire video podcast, and I think we will kill each other after that.
Yeah, let's move on to the next thing. The next news is about Saint Seiya. Saint Seiya manga gets live-action Hollywood film. Whoop-de-holy fucking do.
The thing is, it could be...
This got me out of nowhere.
Yeah, the thing is, it could be so cool, but it won't be.
It definitely won't be. No.
I think Hollywood is doing it, isn't it?
Yes, Hollywood is doing it. I can tell
you.
Why
Hollywood? Saint Seiya is pretty famous in South America and Italy, Spain, and that around area, which makes sense that these they aired it. We didn't have it. Maybe we should add that Germany didn't have Saint Seiya. We had a few mangas, but otherwise Saint Seiya is random to us.
Yes, right. If you're in French, then it's definitely a thing to you. You know that shit. But here in Germany, no, we didn't get any of that crap.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I'm just reading it right now. A Polish director, Tomek Baginski, is doing this thing, and he has producers on a site who are from Toei Animation, Yoshi Ikezawa and Joseph Cho.
So he has
so the dude
support
has,
from the...
He has support, but honestly, this won't help. And don't get me wrong, I really want this to be good. I want everything to be good when it comes to that, but it won't be good. Just because of the fact they will be taking... I tell you right now, they will be taking actors that are Japanese, right? And they will... Even the characters that don't look Japanese, just look at Full Metal Alchemist, they will take Japanese actors, and it will look relatively bad.
Wait.
It won't look any...
The live action movie is done by... Why I'm mentioning Japanese actors?
Wait. Oh, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just confused me because you talked like this is going to be adaptation by Japanese.
This is going to be a Hollywood thing. No, they're going... Okay, no, wait, scrap everything that I've said.
And I won't allow you to cut this out. This stays in it. So
it's staying in. It's staying in. My super error is staying in. No, okay. Let me rephrase this. Okay?
It's still going to be shit, even if it's done by Americans.
I'm still standing my point. They would take for this one, they would take American actors for the guys in the manga that look Japanese
or Greek,
and it will look like shit.
Or Greek for that instance.
It's the same thing. Or Greek, yeah.
I don't have a need for these characters to be Japanese because other versions of Saint Seiya, like the prequel, has mostly Greek people in it. So it can be easily done to make fitting actors for these roles. Because either way if you make an adaptation, I want the main character to be Japanese because it's part of his identity. But what a lot of studios don't make is that they adapt, that they make a story that is set in the universe, but is not a direct adaptation of what's already there. Because that's going to fucking fail. Look at Ghost in the Shell, which is a piece of crap, and it sold pretty crappy. they are because for the normal public, Ghost in the Shell is too much for their brain because people are stupid, and for the hardcore fans, it's not smart enough.
Yes,
and that's a problem.
Here's the thing.
Because Ghost in the Shell is loosely based on several Ghost in the Shell movies, not on one, but several. Why didn't they just do a prequel where
they could have done anything?
But they wanted to sell the major. I understand what they did. They wanted to sell the show, and it's a fact that with a actor like Scarlett Johansson, you can sell a movie. I don't think she's a good actress. I think she was totally terrible as Black Widow. Her Lucy film wasn't really great. Basically, the Ghost in the Shell movie.
Lucy, that was a huge crap. Oh my god, that was.
Basically, this Ghost in the Shell movie was just the bastard child of Matrix and Lucy. It wasn't Ghost in the Shell. It just had the name.
Okay, let me Wraith. Okay, for a second. Okay, here now we got to the... I just wanted to say something about the Saint Seiya thing. But now that we are here on the Ghost in the Shell topic, so here's the deal. Ghost in the Shell, the director, had a very clear image in his head, right? And it was take the best out of everything there is around Ghost in the Shell. He took a lesbian scene, which was from the original manga. He took some scenes from the first movie. He took some scenes from the second movie. He took some scenes even from the anime.
And he mixed the villains up.
And he mixed the villains, yes. And this is what happens when you take too much and you mix them together. It just doesn't work. Because Major in the manga is a different Major than the one in the anime. The anime Major is a different one than you have in the film. Just focus on something. They wanted to focus on the first anime film. I see that, yes. There's a lot of inspiration there. But they also tried to take different topics from different works, and it just doesn't go well. It really, I can't stress this enough. I'm with you here. Scarlett Johansson, not a great actress, not a great Major. I watched like Lost in Translation. I didn't even like her there. I didn't like her acting at all. In Ghost in the Shell, I only need to watch the trailer just to see she's trying to be a robot, but Major is not trying to be a robot in Ghost in the Shell.
That's one main problem of the movies, actually, that it completely changed her identity. Because it's like, it was stolen what you originally were, that you became a cyborg. But that was never in the original, because she chose to be one to save her life. It was a rational decision for her to become this, and it's normal in this society. A lot of YouTubers I watch have made enough videos about why exactly it sucks. Digibro, Mother's Basement, and they really mention why you shouldn't watch this if you like the original Ghost in the Shell.
And they are totally right on this.
And
honestly, watch this.
One point I want to add is the original movie is good. The point is a remake is either a long time has passed and it needs an update.
Oh boy!
But if your source material is already that good, why remake it? Yeah, of course they want to make money and they want to bring Ghost in the Shell in a more broadened audience. But the problem is they wanted their cake and they wanted to eat it. They wanted too much. They had to make cuts because the general audience wouldn't get the story otherwise, and they fucked the other fans up with that. And that's the main problem. If they just did a prequel with a lot less complicated stuff, you could make a gateway to the other Ghost in the Shell things. Even though it's anime, and I know there's a lot of cliches about anime, but the original movie still did good. It still reached a lot of people that were not into anime. Same with Akira.
You can have a manga. You can have a manga anime adaptation. Anything. You can have a movie adaptation of a manga anime. Where people don't even see, it's originated from an anime or manga, right? Old Boy.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Boy is like the
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Old Boy. These are they did so well. Okay, Edge of Tomorrow is a different part of the story, but I'm talking about Old Boy here, for example. You see that and you think, wow, that's from a manga. That's actually like someone was telling me after that. I didn't even know. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I was watching it, and someone was telling me afterwards, "Hey, there's a manga based on it." No. Other way around. There's a manga this movie's based on, and I was like, "Oh, holy shit, what?" And I was reading the manga, and it was it's
different.
Such a
but that's the thing. Just the name of the movie that remained. Many of the things that the manga is drastically changed.
The manga has a different outcome to the story, while the movie just takes the basic idea of the story and goes in a different way. I love that. Give me more of that, because I don't need a 1-to-1 adaptation. You can. I mean that's where I was getting at. And don't just take a mix from so many different works. Like you take stuff from the manga, from the anime, from the movies. That's not going to be great. You just need an original idea that's cultivated around the main plot, the main story, and then you can go wherever direction you want it to go, and you whatever crazy story you want to tell. But it has to be your own kind of different take on the situation. It has to be a whole new idea surrounding that. I mean, you want the Japanese people even to turn their heads and say like, "Wow, this is a different kind of Ghost in the Shell story I haven't seen in a while. It's great. It works well with this universe." Nobody was saying that in this particular movie. Everyone was just saying, "Oh, okay, it's that scene from the manga. Oh, okay, it's that scene from the anime." But it's all so damn shitty done. So
and Ghost in the Shell is the best proof of it. It has so many iterations that people can go with manga is radically different from the movie, and the movie is different from the television series. So it's always something different that just takes the same basis. Yeah, but
Right.
I don't think Saint Seiya is. You see, I wanted to see who's the director of Saint Seiya and what did he do before.
Yeah, I don't even know this movie Cathedra that's written in here. Nominated short animation Cathedra. I have no idea what this is.
Well, with Ghost in the Shell, it was Rupert Sanders, and I looked what he did, and nothing was really impressive or standing out. That I felt like Ghost in the Shell is the name that he's. Of course, you have to be fair. You have to say, well, when they try new genres, it can still turn out great. For example,
Of course. That's always a possibility, right?
Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans was done. The director was a woman who did Hanasaku Iroha, which I hated. Like, I did like it very much, but I love Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. It turned out because before it was a drama slice of life series, and I think I mix up the names of the shows. Forgive me, but the basic is it was a slice of life drama series before. Not sure about the name of the show, but and Iron-Blooded Orphans is a Gundam show. It's a mecha sci-fi show with where killing is really presented bloody and gory, how it should be.
Oh yeah. It's very gory, yeah.
And I was surprised because I liked it. I thought I would dislike it based on what she did before, but it turned out she did it well, and I liked it. And that's just a proof that
it can always turn out.
can
I mean,
do different genres well. It's with movies, it's with anime. It can turn out well. People are capable of changing or of evolving. So
it can always turn out great, right? But in this particular thing, I mean, I'm looking at Saint Seiya and I'm seeing I'm just no shit here. I'm googling pictures of Saint Seiya right now, and I'm seeing all colorful like golden armor, whatever Power Ranger thing, and my head goes straight to the last Power Rangers movie, which was.
I didn't see that. I didn't want to see that shit.
Dude, I watched it. I watched it in cinema, and I wasn't that disappointed, to be honest. But I don't want to go into too much into detail. The only thing I wanted to say is what I'm seeing right now from all this colorful shit is this is not going to be in the movie. The movie is gonna look like Michael Bay's.
And it does.
Take the colors away. Just let it look a little more dark and gritty, like Power Rangers. And I don't like that idea.
Because why make Power Rangers gritty? It was always a trashy entertainment.
I was I was going too far by saying gritty, but it was darker.
Yeah.
It was darker in not in the.
It was darker, but not really serious, I would say.
It was dark. It was darker in the way visually.
Yeah.
They literally took out the colors. Like a red wasn't a red. It was dark red. Things like that, They transform into this giant thing, which in the 90s was this super colorful
mech
animatronic thing, and here it's
the generic CGI thing. Basically, this cancer is
Michael Bay Transformer.
It's Michael Bay and Zack Snyder are the eights of this generation. To be honest, Zack Snyder can do beautiful visuals, but sometimes they're just beautiful visuals with no real purpose. And for example, Batman vs Superman, he fucked up so bad because he didn't know the source material. Seriously,
dude. Honestly, he didn't even have to know the source material.
Yeah.
Everything people wanted was one fight. It was one big epic fight between these two, right? And he had to add stuff that goes beyond this fight. Nobody wanted that shit. Why did Wonder Woman have to be in this movie? I don't know. She looks great, right? Nobody gives a fuck.
Because you have to push out Justice League.
Yes, but fuck it, because that's Justice League is happening. It's right around the corner, right? You can do all that shit in the future. Don't do it in this movie, which is called Batman vs Superman.
They should call it
This is just
Batman vs Superman with a little bit of Wonder Woman and cameos of Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman.
Yeah,
who's more
that's
metal
what
than
Dawn
he
of
used to
Justice
be.
stands for. Yes.
What is that?
I was like, I was sitting here with a friend, and he was like, "Hey, the new Batman vs Superman trailer is out. Let's watch it." Okay, yeah, we watched it, and I was like, "Oh, is that what is that giant thing? Which turned out to be fucking
Doomsday?
What? Doomsday? Yes, thanks.
That wasn't Doomsday.
And
don't call it Doomsday. That's an insult.
yeah, I don't want to call it Doomsday because Doomsday originally was just this giant flash that was punching Superman very hard until he was dead, and here it was fucking no. Just let's not. Okay, here's the thing. I saw all that shit and I was like, huh. I see it's called Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Why is Dawn of Justice standing there as a title? And why didn't I watch any of Batman vs Superman in the trailer? What is happening? And we watched the movie and I was like,
because they need to have an enemy. The movie can't end with Batman and Superman making up and the movie's over. There has to be an enemy to be defeated.
But Wraith, here's the thing, they could have done this in like the last 10 minutes of the movie. They didn't have to go all shit in like 90 minutes in, and then the next hour is going to be a whole different fucking enemy. Are you fucking kidding me? This is the most stupidest idea I've ever okay. You have this movie. You have this chance for Batman vs Superman. Why would you just wrap it up like that and then have a whole different story for the last 60 minutes? Why would you do that? That's just stupid.
There's several reasons, but I think that's another topic for another podcast. I think we should do justice.
Okay, you know what? We have to get this podcast to like 4 hours length.
if we start this topic now, it's going to be more than 4 hours. No, let's just say for another podcast we should do Batman vs Superman versus Civil War, because I think there's a lot of things to mention that's still not said by everyone. So a lot of people already complained. There are some aspects I want to defend Batman vs Superman, but as I say, let's just do that in another podcast because that's going to take us so much time.
Of course. No, we can do that.
To finish this news, of course nobody's going to complain if the Saint Seiya movie is turning out better than expected. But at this point we have so many adaptations that give us an indication that Hollywood craps on these properties. That I don't really think. I think it's possible to do a good live-action version of Saint Seiya. Just take the Gold Saint, who all look kind of similar, who are all easy accessible because they're all based on the zodiac sign.
Right.
Have Hades as the enemy. Even so, I hate that because in Greek mythology and Roman mythology, Poseidon is the actual bad guy. Hades is not the bad guy in the mythology.
Well, they just took it from this Hercules Disney thing, Then
it's easier because it's the underworld. But in the underworld, there's always also the Elysian Fields, which is basically heaven in Greek and Roman mythology. And that's why. But that's a problem. That's why I had Latin in school for 4 years. And I'm into that stuff. That's why it's pissing me off. But I think it's possible to do a good movie. I just don't think Hollywood is capable of doing a good Saint Seiya movie right now.
Okay. Wow. I had Latin for like 2 years, and the only thing I remember is the word viola, which basically means abuse. That's seriously. I don't know why, but that's the only thing I still remember. Okay. Off to the next topic. Saint Seiya movie, okay, let's see how it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be great. It's not going to have any flashy, like, anime designs, so fuck it. It's going to be another generic Power Rangers. Okay, the next thing that we wanted to talk about, that this podcast today is all about, is our Persona 5 talk, right?
Yes, finally we get to the meat of this podcast. It took quite a while, surprisingly. Yeah.
We're going to start this thing off with just a soft talk, about Persona 5, why we like it, what we like about it, what we are looking forward to in Persona 5 Golden, anything like that. And after that, we are going to have a Persona 5 spoiler talk.
We try to put the spoilers at the end, but it's not always possible. So, listening is at your own risk. Viewers discretion. What's always in front of these videos in English videos? Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh. Viewers. Discretion is. Okay. No, the thing is, you will hear something very specific. I can tell you what for now. And from there on, we are going full spoiler, and we are going to warn you before we are going into spoiler details.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. After that, we are still having more talk. So please make sure to listen to that too. Okay. So Persona 5.
Yeah. It's your first Persona game, I heard.
Yes. That's this. I am a very I'm a noob in this Persona thing. I was interested in Persona 3 when it came out, but I never really got around to play it. Same for Persona 4, and everyone was like, "Dude, just really play the whole franchise.
Just do it.
Great. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it." And I finally got around to play Persona 5.
Well, but the hype train was real for Persona 5.
The hype train was real, and also I was playing Catherine for a few years back, and I loved the shit out of that. So I had to give it a try, right? Because you are basically playing Baby Vincent in this game.
Well,
why not?
I don't think Joker is such a complicated person, but well, you have the skins you can buy for Catherine, so you can dress him up as Vincent.
Right.
I didn't get to play Catherine yet because at that time I didn't have PlayStation 3, so I couldn't play it even if I wanted to.
Oh, you have to do someday because you love it.
Yeah, but there's so many Shin Megami Tensei games I have still to play. Because I'm not new to Persona. I've played Persona 3 and 4 before. I actually started Persona 3 times and always stopped when I was 50 hours into it. So I never completed it on my own, but of course, because of Let's Plays, I know how it ends. I finished Persona 4. And the thing is, both of us haven't played the first two games, obviously. And one of the problems is, of course, we didn't play it when it came out because it was censored as fuck. And it wasn't really on anybody's radar, which is, I think, the biggest problem. And trying to play it now, it's kind of slow and very grindy. I mean, Persona 5 was grindy as fuck. But the old titles of Shin Megami Tensei are even worse in that aspect. And so it makes really hard to make time for us to play them. Especially we are now adults, we have to work or study.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like when that came out at school, when we had enough time to play 100-hour long Persona games. I mean, I still did take the time for Persona 5. Like, I take a free week and I played through the whole thing in 93 hours. So
that brings me to my first question, Wraith. Please tell me how many hours did you take for Persona 5 for your playthrough, for your first playthrough?
I just said 93 hours.
Oh, 93 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I didn't catch that. It actually took me 130 hours.
I have to say, I played on hard until the 5th dungeon, and then I noticed, shit, I won't make it in time if I stay on hard because I have to grind too much. So I switched to normal because it wasn't hard. It just was I had to grind more to make progress, and I really wanted to finish the game. Because I didn't want to read the spoilers, I wanted to know how the story ends. So I switched to normal and played through it because I didn't really have to grind very much experience or anything.
But you're a hardcore dude. I didn't even go to hard. I was playing on normal difficulty the whole time.
Yeah, I did start with Merciless, but Merciless is not balanced at all. It's really you have to plan out everything beforehand, and it's a lot of save and reload. It's just a huge pain in the ass. I don't think it's really a fair hard game if you play it on Merciless. It's more for this hardcore retro fans who are used to this kind of gameplay imbalancing.
Right.
So, yeah, I still think even on normal it's harder than other games, but by no means impossible.
No, by no means impossible. I think so too. I haven't played it in Merciless, but I have seen some footage of people and how they prepare for it and things. And it was going quite well, but for my purpose, I just played it for the story. So
I wanted it to be a blind playthrough, just like my first Persona 4 playthrough, and without a guide, Merciless. It's really not doable without a guide. Because it's important you max out the right social links at the start, for example, to get so you in the clinic you can buy SP items and stuff. There's so many preparations you have to do to make this playthrough on Merciless. I didn't have the time and I wasn't really motivated because the gameplay of Persona, I don't want to call it average, but it's okay, but it's not groundbreaking.
Yeah. So in the beginning we talked about who was best waifu, and apparently it was Makoto, which is not a real surprise because I think her story was written out so well, but we can talk about that in the spoiler territory. For now, let's focus on what we liked about the game so far.
First of all, the designs are insanely great. The designs.
Oh yes, it looks so. This whole game looks delicious as fuck. Holy shit!
The thing is, I never got bored of it, even after 93 hours. I still watched the all-out attacks, and they're still fucking beautiful.
After 130 hours, I shit you not. I put up the fucking soundtrack on my phone, and I still listen to this day without resting. I love it. This game has everything.
Yeah, but I agree. I have certain pieces of music on my smartphone, which is definitely Life Will Change.
Of course, Life Will Change.
Then Regret and Willpower.
Okay.
So Willpower is the music when they activate their persona, which are two pieces. I know. Willpower and I don't know the name of the other one, but that plays just before Willpower, and it's so good together. Yeah. It really goes well together,
dude.
And it belongs
yes. My favorite track of them all is Rivers in the
Desert.
Yeah,
mine too.
Rivers in the Desert.
I listened that to that.
It got me like so. Holy shit! It caught me off guard. Like when it happened at that one specific fight, I just had to stop the fight for now. Just listen to the music. Just suck it all in. I couldn't play it.
That had great. Many people had this kind of effect. Don't ask me if I'm ready, but I'm ready to strike them down now. So it's like you can't. So the funny thing is you can't understand everything. Some are in quite English.
It's English,
but other parts are really well sung by Lynn. Exactly, it was sung by Lynn. But it's really great track. It's also my favorite one of Persona 5. And the soundtrack itself is really good. It has this jazz and blues feeling, which really fits this haste theme. Where with the stealing, which feels typical haste, but it also has this anime mix up, so where you feel like it's a really that's always in the Persona games. It's really a great mix-up of different genres. Persona 4 was heavy on rap, and I usually don't listen on rap, but there was so much alternative and really creative ways of usage of rap. I have to say Persona 4 soundtrack is even better than the Persona 5 soundtrack. Just the,
really?
the variety is so great that's really one of the few things where I think Persona 4 is better than Persona 5. But by no means
great.
Persona 5 sucks. It's still a great soundtrack. It's just because Persona 4 was already so good with so many different tracks that Persona 5 had a lot to live up to in that sense. But I still think it's a really, really wonderful soundtrack. I never got bored of it.
Great job.
And two musical themes were so struck into my head. How do you say in English to when?
What do you mean exactly?
Ohrwurm. In German, we say
Ohrwurm. Yeah, it's stuck in your head. It's stuck in your head.
Is there no expression in English that really says?
No, I don't think. I don't think there's a specific term for it. It's just people say it's stuck in your head.
It's stuck in your head. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Honestly, I have to.
I googled just. Well, it says earworm, catchy song, catchy tune.
Yeah, but
no, stuck in your head
catchy.
is quite accurate. What's that said? But of course, life will change. You never see it coming.
Oh, of course, of course.
I don't even get the pitch high enough.
It's I love it. I'm not even going to try.
Another one is I'm a shapeshifter. That's a common
this
theme.
song. I have a little story about the song. It's about. I mean, it's very romantic, right? It has this jazzy feel to it, and for a week, my parents didn't have internet here at their house because of some workings and things like that. And my brother is YouTuber, right? Mm-hmm. He needs internet. He's uploading daily, so he got his PC over to my place, and I was playing Persona 5 while he was editing. And he was like, "Man, this music is so relaxing while editing. It's crazy." And a few weeks later, I came over to my parents' house and I see him editing, and he's got this YouTube playlist with a Persona 5 soundtrack. He doesn't even play this game, but it was just it just got stuck in his head. It was crazy. Like you can see how people love that soundtrack. Like there's this YouTuber. I'm just looking him up right now. I loved it. So where was he? His name is just Edeka. So Edeka did a live stream of Persona 5, of the beginning of Persona 5.
I've seen the video. It's where he just stops the fight and listens to the music and.
Yeah, his first reaction to the Persona 5 battle theme, it was. Holy shit! Like he was just like, oh my god, this theme is dangerous. It's so great. It's like you see people just smiling, getting like they can't even play any further, but just because of this goddamn fucking soundtrack. It's so great.
I think that's why it's international so successful. It's because it has many elements that are really relatable to many people. And the music is good on its own, but it's even better when you play the game and it fits the scenes.
Definitely.
That's a great achievement, really. But that's in general for the Persona. I think that got better with every game, and they really, I would say, they made it perfect almost with Persona 5.
And that's one of the key words here, right? They just put everything where it should be. This is what the whole game feels like. Let's jump to gameplay.
Well, before we go to the gameplay, maybe design will automatically lead into gameplay because
of course,
I think all of the characters are really great designed, and especially their personas and how they fit to them. They all have a different kind of backstory that fits with with the character that the persona is based on. So we have Yuji, who is the rebel, with Captain William Kidd as his persona, with Captain Kidd.
Yes.
Which is a famous pirate. We have, Anne.
No, yes. Please say this name. Yes.
Takamaki Anne.
Yeah, please. No. Just say her name. Just say her name. Everything's good.
With Carmen? I don't know what you want to.
You just wanted to say Anne's name, right?
Takamaki Anne.
Takamaki, right? Here's the thing: people just so we played it in English, right? With English voice.
Hell no, I played it Japanese.
No, you played. Okay.
I don't think
okay. So here's.
I think that's what I wanted to complain about. I don't think the English voice acting is bad. I just think what's still terrible is that they can't pronounce names.
Yes, they can pronounce names, but here's the thing. I think they you see that they really try to work hard with names here. But one name they really fucked up, and this is like getting everyone intensely insane, is N Takamaki, and they say it and Takamaki.
Yeah, that's terrible.
They say
that's
that all the fucking time.
Even when
Takamaki.
When I'm speaking English, I say it Anne instead of An, which is okay because she is a half Japanese, half something else. So you can argue that you can pronounce Anne differently, but if you do not pronounce the fucking names correctly, because even if you localize it, names are not based on localization. Names are based on the country of origin. There's a difference between name.
Right.
There's Paul and there's Paul. There's David and there's David. And names are a representation of your own identity, and the pronunciation is part of that. And to me that's important, but I study languages, so I'm even more strict on that.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing any of that, but here's the thing. Takamaki threw me off a little bit, but most of the names, to be super honest, I liked them. I didn't see. I wasn't so harsh on the game in that matter. You see that they were working very hard to get this thing somewhat great. Sometimes the translation is not the best,
yes,
of course, but. They really worked hard. You can see that, and I enjoyed the English voices for once. And honestly, I don't understand or speak Japanese, so it was nice just to not read all the time when they talk.
The thing is, to be fair, Persona 5 is much better than 3 and 4, which is about voice acting. There were a lot of terrible voices. They weren't all terrible. Even my favorite girl in Persona 5, Naoto Shirogane, has a really good English voice actress. But for example, Chi, who is for a lot of people best girl, her first voice was absolutely terrible. And with Persona 4 Golden, she got a new voice actress, but she wasn't really that great either. So
yeah, that's.
But still, I had to.
But there you go, right?
I had to play Persona 5 Japanese even alone for the voice cast, which is insanely great people. It's a bit unfair because Persona 5 did the right call to use more newer voice actors, because they wouldn't have a chance against this Japanese lineup. The main character is spoken by fucking Fukuyama Jun, most well known for Lelouch from Code Geass.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yusuke is spoken by Sugimota. I'm killing his name right now. Tsukita Tomokazu, who did Gintoki from Gintama, who did Ragnar from Blaze Blue, which he has such a variety in his voice, which is also awesome. An is spoken by Nana Miski, most famous for Fate Testarossa from Nanoa, and who's also a famous singer in Japan. And the list goes on. Most notable.
Yeah, the list goes on.
The most notable is also Shido, who is
Shido, yeah.
He's spoken by also very famous voice actors, by Shokichi Ikuda. Japanese name sometimes I have to look them up. Shuichi Ikeda, who's most famous for Char Arsenal from Gundam. You have to know that the first Gundam era was from 79 to 1995. Is where the main universe of Gundam's youth universe Gundam war, and he's basically the main antagonist of that era. And there's very many homages in Shido, who's the main bad guy of Persona 5, that allude to Char. His beliefs, his design.
For someone, this honestly, what's really interesting about this, that you tell me this, is I'm not a huge into Gundam, right? But I know some of the classic designs from the people and from the Gundams. But here's the thing. Now that you tell me that he's got in Japanese this Gundam voice actor, okay, let me just for a few seconds go into spoiler segment. Okay, you hear something right now, and this is a spoiler. So okay. Just for a super quick spoiler talk, even his design later in the game looks like
just forget the spoiler advice. What he means is that this guy is made up to be the main villain anyway. You will notice really
of course yeah. Okay.
So you will guess that he has a shadow which you a palace and you infiltrate it, and of course he's the main bad guy of his, and he has a shadow design. And this shadow, also this enemy design, is heavily based on Char Aznable, this Gundam guy.
Yes.
Even his design, the voice acting, and even some of his moveset are based on Char. For example,
interesting.
He like a typical end boss fight, after taking enough damage, he powers up. He turns red and is 3 times as strong, which is an extreme.
Yeah.
That's also an extreme Gundam homage, because Char Aznable always piloted red mechs that were as 3 times as fast as the normal mechs. So that's heavily inspired. Even his political views are very reminiscent of Char. But there's a lot of this kind of stuff in Persona 5, but also in prior Personas there's a lot of homages to certain franchises, design-wise as well. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Cheeto. I just wanted clarification on that, because I have no idea about Gundam.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Just for me, like
you're kind of missing in the English voice acting, because
yes,
that's all of that is kind of missing. Of course the English voice acting cast can help that. They can't get the voice actor who did the voices for the English character, etc. I get that, but
to be fair,
that's just something to say about it.
Yes, but to be fair, I wouldn't have got it anyway, because I'm not a Gundam watcher, so I don't know. But just the design, I just saw it before and was like, oh, okay, that looks like a Gundam guy, and then you tell me, hey, he's voiced by a Gundam guy, so that's interesting. Okay, we will go into Gundam shit later. Okay, so you listed up the characters.
Genau.
Like, okay, the first ones that you meet are Ryuji and Takamaki.
And Morgana.
And Morgana, right. So these are your first dudes that you are going to infiltrate palaces with. And yeah, this is one design choice I really loved that I heard or I saw that wasn't in the last games. Dungeons were like roguelikes. They were randomized, and in this game they didn't do that anymore. Only Mementos is
Mementos is looking a lot like Persona 3's dungeon, with these random hallways that go into another with no real direction. So the design of this is very reminiscent of Persona 3. But I agree. I loved the fact that you really had character-specific dungeons. They started a little bit in Persona 4, where, for example, Kanji's dungeon was a bathhouse. And so everything, not a bathhouse, a sauna. And everything looked like it's steamy and stuff, but it still was randomized. And in Persona 5 did a really great job at really specific character dungeons. Yes. Really gorgeous to look at.
These dungeons, they look awesome. It was a blast going in there. You just infiltrate palaces, and then the thing is the actual designs of the cast really got me. Like say the Persona designs, I really like them. I loved Arsene. Arsene was such a great the way he speaks to you, the way he shows up, it's just very awesome. I kept him to the end too because I just loved his design. And
you didn't have to, because if you fill up your Persona collection, you can summon him as an almighty Persona later on again.
Yeah, I know. I know. I didn't care.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I think for me, Arsene was one of the weakest designs. I liked the others much more.
Honestly?
Yeah. But
wow.
I think it goes along a bit because the main character doesn't have a specific persona. So I think his ultimate persona fitted him much more. But it's also a story development, because at that point, just like the character developed, his persona did change. So, so maybe that's also an aspect to look at this, because at the end of the journey, you may associate him with a different persona than what he started out with. Because I didn't have Arsene much long. I fused him very early on when I just needed to fill my compendium. So I didn't really care too much. But I think really great designs and really, really unique designs. For example, love Makoto, the fact that Makoto has a bike as a persona.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love that. Yes.
That's one thing I really dislike of Persona 5 is because since 3 it becomes a trend that the personas power up, and the power-ups in Persona 5 are all terrible. The original designs are much, much superior.
I don't know about that, to be honest.
I
don't know. I can see where you're coming from, because some of them, yes, like when I got, I did like the design of Anne's persona, and when it was when it evolved, it just became not that great.
Yeah.
Not
the thing is, just going through with it. So Makoto has a Joan, which is a reference to the Pope, which is also really great because it really reflects her personality. Because she's also trying as a woman to establish herself in Japanese society as a working force and an independent woman. Similar how the Pope John tried. She even did become the Pope by pretending to be a man. So I really love how also the story of the persona itself really relates to the characters. But
yes, I generally like say when we just talked about Makoto. Makoto's persona, she has a bike at first, and when it evolves, it's not a bike anymore, right?
It's a transforming mech, and that's what I really. I don't even think that's bad. I think they should have updated the animation in a different way. It should have just been a bike that transforms into a mech while she summons it. Because then the cool idea of a bike will still stay, and she still would have the feeling of having evolved, and that's kind of
But
fucked up.
I didn't mind so much because I really liked the design, particularly on this persona. For some reason but yeah, your idea is great too. They could have gone with that.
And the thing
no
is,
problem.
it goes with all the others. Haru has Milady, which is Futaba has Necronomicon, Akechi has Robin Hood. And what I really love about the idea, all these characters have personas that are human rebels.
Right. This is so great, yes.
And that's what I really loved, and it really fits the story and setting of Persona 5. And that's why I hated the fact that all the evolved personas are gods, which I think just disagrees with what we established. Because all of their personas evolve into gods. Futaba is awesome. Futaba is awesome in that aspect that she has UFO, which is called Necronomicon, so the Book of the Dead, as a persona, and it transforms from a UFO into a ball, which is called Prometheus.
Right.
It's not exactly a god, but Prometheus is a guy who brought humans fire. And this goes on, all of them. Ans, Carmen evolves into Hecate, who is the goddess of mystery and fire. Like the gods itself, what they stand for, still relates to the characters, all of them. But for example, Morgana's sorrow, which is even how he's designed. Morgana as
dude, it looks so awesome. It looks like
Pussy in Boots.
The fucking...
I mean, he's based on Pussy in the Boots and has Zorro. But why has Zorro to evolve into Mercurio? I mean, the story makes sense because that's actually a spoiler. Because once you know how Morgana was created, then
yes. Okay, don't go too much into detail because this is really end game spoiler. Yes, it makes sense.
But
okay, let's.
What I want to say is, I think it's really saddening how all of them were established as these human rebellions, and the persona fitted so well. And then for this persona to evolve into gods, I really didn't like it. I think it was a poor choice. But maybe with Persona 5 Golden, they do the same thing with Persona 4, where they got an additional evolution. And
I would really like that because some of the designs of the evolved personas didn't really struck me. So I'm open to that idea. I think that would be a great idea. But honestly, I'm looking forward to Persona 5 Arena the most, just because I really wanna see these characters in a fighting game. Would be so great.
And another thing with the personas I just remembered, because this is really a lot of them are of the evolved personas are Greek or Roman in their origin, and we kind of had that with Persona 3 already, where a lot of these personas were based on Greek or Roman mythology. And that's kind of, I feel like Persona 5 had its own style, so why kind of go back to something Persona 3 already had? Like,
yes, it has its own. Yes, right. But when you think about it, in terms of actual names, I mean, in the end, it's just names, right? The most of the personas still don't even. I mean, when we say like Zorro, right? We talk about Pussy in the Boots, but it doesn't look like a Zorro at all. So sometimes it's just names.
No, that's not true. The characters are really relate to the person.
The characters. Yes, the characters. But I mean, from actual design standards, it doesn't really look like anything that you.
Yeah, but it wasn't really supposed to, because it's a representation of the psyche, and just the persona is a fitting person with a name.
Yeah, it's like a stand, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. It's from Joe. If you haven't seen or read JoJo, then first of all, what are you doing with your life? And second, basically,
Why?
the way this personas are summoned as a representation of your inner force is based on JoJo since this third game.
Yes.
The first
it's
two games weren't really based on JoJo that much, but since this third game, it's pretty much became a stand thing where they summon that. It's a similar way, the kind of how they fight, and if their persona
Also,
take damage, the user takes damage. It's very reminiscent.
Right. Also, but do not forget, it's like stands. They're not exactly like stands
they're
because
different.
this is what people confuse sometimes. Is that personas? They're more like Pokemon when it comes to fighting because you have like different movesets and things. Whereas in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has stands that normally they have one special power that no other stand
so
has.
that was more established since part 4. Part 3 wasn't so much on it yet.
Well, yes, in part 3 you have that too. You all the stands are their own thing. It's not like
not
in
all
Persona
stands,
you have,
but they didn't have such specific skills. Part 4 became
it
more
was
specific.
it wasn't that worked out well.
Well, Pokemon is only true for the main character, I would say, because he can exchange
because
them.
you can collect them.
But Persona 1 and 2 was different. It was more like the traditional Shin Megami Tensei games, where you had this variety of demons that you can collect. Mm-hmm. So it's also based on the guy who did his was it Jung? It's the
oh, I have no idea.
It's how do you say it? Psychologist who created the idea of Persona and Shadows, which is idea he based with the mask. Representing your inner self, etc. I don't want to go too deep in because that I would have really
because
to
this
prepare.
is too much.
But it's actually based on the research he did. So that's always because you have to be careful to say, they are JoJo stand, but they are even this research of this psychology. Shit. I can't talk right now, but even the research of the guy.
It's no problem. I know.
Much earlier than
we're
JoJo.
getting the gist of that.
It's not like JoJo did this idea first. So even though it's very similar to JoJo, it's kind of its own thing since it's based much more on this research. Right.
It's kind of its own thing, and I like that. I don't want a JoJo ripoff because we already have JoJo, and it's going strong, and it's going way too long.
And we have already enough JoJo ripoffs. One really bad one is Big Order.
Diesel?
No, that too. That's too underground. But Big Order from the Mirai Nikki maker, the second of her, is a really bad JoJo ripoff where everyone has kind of like a stand with a lot of edginess.
Yeah, so I stopped at Mirai Nikki, so
go into her second work. Like as a JoJo fan, you will hate it.
I didn't even read Mirai Nikki. I was I was at the beginning. I was like, nah. Okay, so Persona 5.
JoJo is the obvious topic when you talk about Persona 5. So we have
of course, yeah.
So with the designs, also the character designs, great. The costumes and how they are really fitting also to the kind of persons they are.
Yes,
it's really fun with Anne when she got her. Stripperific Batman Catwoman outfit.
Everyone goes on and on about how kinky it is. Yeah.
but the thing is, of course, it's fan service, but on the other way, it's how she thought others perceive her, because she's a model, she's a kind of slut, and in her mind subconsciously she did accept that kind of. And her clothing represents that.
Right. I think that was a great choice, to be honest, because it fits her character so well, and also it when you do her social link, you can see that more and more when you dive into her story. You can see what kind of person she wants to be. Like for once, she's saying, "Hey, I always wanted to be
like the villains
in an anime."
like the
Yeah,
villains
she
from
likes
this
villains
old
in
school
animes.
and that's
Yes,
definitely
right.
she has very she has many similarities, for example, with the main villain of Gatchaman, who has this leather outfit with a mask and blonde hair.
Right.
So
Right.
that comes into it, and she liked them because they were so independent, which is
Yes.
exact the
Yes.
opposite of what women in Japan were supposed to be like.
And that's what her character absolutely looks like. So that's why it's a great choice, I think.
Yeah. Of course, it's fan service, but as I said before,
Yeah,
it's
of course,
it's
it's
clever
fan-
used
we're
fan
talking,
service.
Wraith. We're talking Japan here. We are talking Japanese.
No, this is global
game.
thing.
This is
People.
yes,
like
it's a global thing.
something.
But when it comes to Japanese JRPG games, you always think of some girls that aren't dressed properly.
I think about
It's
certain
always like-
fetishes, but I also think about certain fetishes when I look at Western DC and Marvel superheroines.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. Wonder Woman is right around this corner. Right?
Wonder Woman, not particularly, but Power Girl.
You mean Jessica Jones?
No, Power Girl.
Oh,
Power,
wait, Power Girl. Oh.
which is basically Supergirl with tits.
Yes. I yeah.
But not
Yeah.
there's many examples for them, so I don't really think people always say, yeah, Japanese so perverted and shit, and I think nah, the word is perverted. It's not specifically Japan. Many people say
it's not
it's because
specifically Japan, but
the thing
when
is,
we're talking
with
Japan.
Futaba, for example, when she first joined her persona, there came tentacles out of her
Yeah.
UFO and grabbed her into it. Which is,
Dude, that was too much, to be honest.
No,
that was a little too much.
I-
I was like,
I thought it fitted her because she is also this kind of geek, and she is a 2-channel member. Her name even relates.
yes. True.
Her name even relates to Futaba Channel, so which is the Japanese
God.
equivalent to 4chan. And
But let's not let's please, okay.
but the point I
Let's
want
not
to
do
take
this.
is this kind of thing is always attributed to Japan, but look at Greek. Europa
Dude.
was created because Zeus as a cow fucked a human, so we did the thing too. We just don't want to accept it.
I've never been into Greek mythology.
Yeah, what I just want.
But this is interesting. But I don't want this to go into. This is a Persona 5 talk, right? I don't want this to go too much into mythology based stuff. But it's interesting to know. It's interesting to know. And the thing about the tentacles. Honestly, I love this part. I was laughing super hard. It was like it was showing so many different things. I loved it. But after that, I was like, oh man, what
You felt
what did I just
ashamed.
party over? What did I just party over? But this is just me, you know.
Yeah.
This is just how I am. I would always party over that shit.
I'm
Okay.
done with being ashamed of something like that. I enjoy it.
No. I'm not really. I wasn't really ashamed. I was just like asking, am I still even? I was asking myself if I was even. Am I even thinking about what I'm doing? But I think I will always be like this, and I think it's great. It's alright.
Just accept that you're a filthy weep. And,
Dude, I accepted a long time ago that I'm not like that. I'm not normal. So that I'm definitely not. Yeah, I'm different. I know that. And I love that about
let's
me.
just say
it's all right. It's all right.
we never saw it coming.
Yeah.
So, from the character designs, well, all were really unique. Futaba had a spy gear, which fits her hacker theme.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Haru had also this kind of pussy in boots look, but
Right.
or musketeer if you want, but
Musketeer, yeah. Musketeer
Pussy
outfit.
in boots looks like a musketeer. So,
Yeah.
but it also very fits because first met her because of Morgana. So it goes around. So did we miss one? Yusuke with his Japanese look makes sense. He had Goemon as his persona, which is a famous thief in Japan, historic or mythology.
Yeah.
So the design, just look at the designs. I think just looking at them,
Yes.
you really get how well they're designed and how well it relates to their own personal story. And that's probably
Right.
why Makoto is best girl too, because her design, which is radically different from her normal, shy, quiet student council president design, and she has a Fist of the North style apocalyptic rider look. And
I love that shit.
what I
love
also
that
love
so
is she did Aikido, but her actual fight style is really brutal and kind of looking down on others, which I think is really, she's the one that shows her inner self the most, how she wants to be perceived. And more than the others already, I think. Which
Yes.
makes her really relatable in the West. Funnily enough,
Also,
I think she is the favorite girl in the West, but in Japan, because Japan loves blunt women apparently, Anne is the favorite.
yeah.
To me,
but
not
Anne
at
is
all, which is funnily enough, but hey, that's why you can choose, no?
Yes. You can choose, and I love that because nobody in the West wanted Anne just because of the fact she's so whiny at some points. I do understand that. I still like her character, but I didn't want her to,
Yeah,
to
it's
be
different.
the wife.
I can like a female character without wanting to romance her. Like,
Yes,
that's
right.
also normally given. Just because her outfit is so revealing doesn't mean I have to reduce her to it.
Yes, right.
If anything, I would say the opposite. I still liked her as a character and didn't want to betray her, but I didn't have to be romantically involved with her.
Yes, right. Also, she's just such a big of a trope, I think, that it's you see that kind of character too often, and a character like Makoto doesn't drop by every now and then.
Well,
So,
some people would
it was
disagree
nice.
with you. I think the main thing which is cool at Persona, but also some people don't like it, because at the start Persona 5 is really, really superficial. You all people hate you. No one really wants to talk with you. Everyone's minding their own business, and it's really.
Oh yeah,
written,
let's just wait. Let's just start right out of the beginning, like you do now. Let's just tell the story from here on out. From not everything, of course. That
yeah, well,
would take
basically
way
the
too
main
long.
character is
But-
transferred to a school in Tokyo. The only one that
Right.
let him in because he was framed when he tried to help a woman who was attacked by a drunk politician. Drunk politician
yes.
used his power and made change the situation so that you, the main protagonist, was accused of the crime, and now your parents don't want to do anything with you because you're a disgrace.
You're a delinquent right now. When you're seen in Japan, as a delinquent, you're basically done for. Your only choice is to go into rehabilitation, which basically means you go. How do you say it? You do a probation year outside of your home, whatever. And don't get into trouble
Yeah.
for the year.
Which works perfectly for our main protagonist.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Set in a world with superpowers. No, but the thing is, he's taken in by someone who also is like, don't cause me any trouble. And everyone you talk, your teacher says, just don't be more work for me. And everybody reacts the same, almost everybody reacts the same, which some say is bad writing. I don't think so, because it's really, really representing Tokyo itself very well. Because no one will want to talk with you, all have their own business to mind. But once you get to know them in the social links, you notice they're not just the tropes you're seeing at first. They all have their problems, they all have their sorrow, which they have to sort through, and they all have their story, how they became the way they are.
I didn't think that was bad writing at all, just because of the fact that
it may seem at first if you don't get into
it may
the
seem at
social
first
links.
because it was so much, but it really gave you the feeling of, oh shit, man, I'm unwelcome. What the fuck? You know, the point where, okay, this I just want to add this real quick. Do you know the moment when I decided that Makoto is going to be my waifu in this game? It was the moment when you go the first time studying and she's sitting there. You talk to her and she's like, go away. I don't want to talk to you. And I was like, yes, she's going to be it. She's going to be it.
For that reason? That's a bit...
It was just that I liked that disinterested look that she gave me. And I have a thing for red eyes. I have no idea what.
Well, her red eyes are even in her cut-in. There's cut-in animations for the faces, and her red eyes really look at you like they're looking down on the enemy. It's so really striking. Also, once we talk
really awesome.
about the designs again, but. That's memorable.
But that was just a quick thing. So we can continue from here on out. So our main villain, we just call him Joker because this is what he will be called in the metaverse.
Our main villain.
You give him a name. Main protagonist. Oh, I'm a dumb. Our main protagonist, he's called Joker, and Joker goes to school. You have your daily normal life, and then you have the metaverse, which is you get a persona and you do super fights and stuff like that. And here's the thing: the story starts off right with this teacher. There's this teacher at the school. He's called Kamoshida.
King of perverts.
Yes, he's king of perverts, and he's got a thing for Anta Kamaki, who's going to be the next, the next person on our party. He's got a thing for her, but
she gives him the pass.
She only hangs around. She only hangs around with him because she wants to help her friend Shiho. Shiho, that wants to get what was
volleyball team. Yes, she wants to stay on the volleyball team and do well, and he coerces Anne into almost dating him, so that Shiho stays on the team. Now this goes even further because Anne refuses to have sex with him. He goes really far. And after that, he abuses her friend Chio, and this goes so far. It's kind of spoiler, but I think since it's the start of the game, it's okay. Good. She tries to kill herself, and
yes, he tries.
And the school is covering it up because Kamoshida is because he does so well with the volleyball team in the nationals, that he gives the school a good reputation, and that's why he's allowed to do anything he wants. And now people may think this is how do we say, overdone, too extreme.
I don't think so.
No, it's not actually. That's what I want to say, because this is based on real events in Japan, and it's a real problem. It's
a real problem. It's not even a problem in Japan. Let me straight out say this. This is a problem that America has too with its football teams.
Yeah. Definitely.
People are invincible as long as they are good in sports. In some schools, that's the case in real life. This is not a joke.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's also something that Persona 5 is really, really into. It's open critic, an open critic on the things which are now currently a problem in Japan. Every main opponent represents a problem we currently have in Japan, and that's really nice. I get it that the villainous acts these characters put up in as a shadow form can feel a bit swallow, but I think that's again where the social links come in. For example, the second main villain, Madarame, who is the mentor of your 5th character, Yusuke,
Yes, Yusuke, yeah.
comes off as totally evil after all this reveal. I won't say what exactly, but the thing is, you think that Yusuke, because he even says, "I will not forgive you," but in his social link, you learn that still Madarame had good in him, that he took care of Yusuke when he didn't have to, and that's when at least some of these characters do have their gray parts. Like, yes, he was a trash person, but that doesn't mean he was completely evil. He still had a human conscience. And yes, not every villain gets this.
But you are going way too deep in the story, because we still have the spoiler talk and things. Here's just the gist of it is just they're attacking problems in society, in Japanese society and overall society, and this is what the game gives you most of the time, is that you are against people that use society for their own gain, more or less. Yeah, and with that said and done, I would like to stop this for now. Just we can wrap this up with saying how much we like the game. we both love this game, I think.
You want to cut me off, punk?
No, well, we still have the spoiler talk, and I think you have way more to say to the game in there, and we still have another segment coming. That's why I wanted to wrap this up for now. The soft part of Persona 5 talk, and later we are going to have the spoiler talk, which is going into all kinds of details. But for now, Wraith, how much did you like Persona 5? Would you give it a rating?
I think I would rate different aspects differently. So story and character get a 5 out of 5. Definitely. Story, character and design, actually. The soundtrack gets a 4, because Persona 4 was just better. But it isn't. It's not a bad mean. I think 4 out of 5 is still a really good score. The gameplay gets 3 out of 5, because I could have done without the gameplay. It's nothing that special, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially, it had improvements over the last 2 games, but there were still balancing issues where certain things just outweighed doing other things.
Of course, For example, I can totally agree on that.
Endgame, all I was doing, because it was the simples, was charging Takamaki and then choosing her strongest spell, which did a ridiculous amount of damage, and that was my main damage dealer, because it was so simple and it worked against all who were not resistant to fire.
Also, the whole SP system didn't really stick to me to the end, because in the end, by the end you are in the last dungeon, you are in this extremely big dungeon, and you got the choice. Okay, how many SP items do I get with me? And do I even have the option to get more SP items when I'm far in? And some people might have had the problem to not get enough SP for the whole thing. So that was the thing that kind of threw me off.
For the final dungeon, but you had heal points.
Yes, you had heal points, but you don't always have SP items. HP items, of course, yes, but you don't always have something to get your SP.
But that's a good thing. Persona 5 counterbalanced it by being a stealth game. You can avoid a lot of enemies.
Yeah, you can avoid enemies, and that was
save
great.
SP. So it's still possible. It can be annoying, especially if you get caught. But I think SP really only becomes bothering on Merciless. There I would agree with you that these things can kill you, definitely. But okay, to be fair, I've played quite a few Shin Megami Tensei games, so I'm more familiar with it.
Yeah,
of course I can expect it. You are a newbie, so maybe your opinion weighs more than mine, because of course if you're experienced, you can judge correctly what do I need, what are I likely to need.
Yeah.
So the criticism stands. You are not wrong with that.
Yeah, from normal JRPGs, I know that I always have MP instead of SP, and that when I heal the whole party, that I get these MP back. And here it was okay, SP. No, you don't get that back when you use, like, I say quote unquote tent in this game, and you don't get that back in between a dungeon. So when you are at the final dungeon and it's taking very long and you don't have enough SP items, you have to go sneaky. And I didn't really.
Or go out of the dungeon and spend another day in the dungeon.
You can't do that on the last dungeon.
Yeah, on the last dungeon not. But
yeah, that's what I mean. I mean specifically the last dungeon. Otherwise, it's perfect. And I don't think it's a great flaw. It's just one thing that came to my mind. But no, I don't see any problems there. I would rate. Okay, overall, what would you rate the game?
So, well, 3 things are 5, 1 is 4, and 1 is 3. Did I forget something? So, soundtrack, design, character, story, music, gameplay. Is there anything else I have to consider?
Even the frame rates are great as fuck on PlayStation 4. It looks just
so it's really
amazing.
smooth. But that's a design thing. Even the fucking status menu is always moving, always interesting.
It's so great.
Which the
great.
design, props to the design of Persona 5. I think he did an incredible job with all of what he had to keep in mind.
You can only give that a 5 of 5.
Yeah, design-wise, this is 20 million out of 5. So, but that would break the record, no? So yeah. All in all, well, the most critics give him 92 out of 100 points.
100. Yeah.
So I think 90 out of 100 is a good score. So
I was just about to say I would give this game a 9 out of 10. It does nothing wrong. It has some how do I call it? Some things aren't really moved on with time. As in, say, per rounds battle. Some people don't like that. I take that into account, but I loved that because I'd prefer a new Final Fantasy game with a battle system like this than what they had in Final Fantasy 15. But that's a whole different story. For me, it did work in every way. It was just amazing. The last part of the game, and that's why I take 1 point away. The last part of the game, the last fourth of the game, was not as well written, in my opinion, as the rest.
Yeah, then that's the thing is because if you're familiar with Shin Megami Tensei, then you always know you have the final boss, and then you have the other final boss who's some kind of super powerful entity that you have to defeat. So, but that's also kind of how story writing go, because the final boss was kind of the climax, because you have these different steps in storytelling, and after the climax you go down with the climax is basically the high point of the story, and that was the final boss before, and to one top yourself on that is for one thing hard. And for one thing, not necessarily smart. But here comes another thing. I think that we also have to consider. I think. Yeah, we know that I think, apparently. Is that Persona 5 is a little bit rushed in at the ending, and it's still a completed
you can
game,
totally see that,
but
yes.
You notice that things are missing that they are probably going to add in Persona 5 Golden.
Yeah, for example, we are going to talk about everything that they will probably get in Persona 5 Golden in the spoiler talk.
Yeah, okay.
So there's going to be some stuff, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Then let's leave it for that. But we can agree.
Okay, we leave it
for both of us. It's a 9 out of 10 game.
Yes. It's fantastic. Of course, it's a fantastic game.
So, yeah. With that being said, should you buy Persona 5? Yes.
Yes, definitely. When you're hearing this podcast that is called Our Waifu's Better Than Yours, then we know what kind of person you are, and you would enjoy Persona 5 if you haven't already.
Yeah.
So,
You may be a little bit scared of the superficial writing at first, but just like real human relationships, you have to get to know people, and that's done by establishing social links with the characters. Because it was a criticism I heard often, which I completely disagree with, is that that is bad writing. There's a difference between superficial writing and bad writing.
right.
And maybe, the translations aren't always perfect, because I played with Japanese voices and I do understand Japanese. Then I noticed that some translations were kind of off, and had a... Because the Japanese voices have not an additional translation. They use the same as the English dub. And that's typical, but... Of course,
that's
then
typical.
There will obviously be mistakes when you know how the original Japanese was intended.
Yes. Well, of course, you can always have that on translations, but I think for the most part, it stays in a solid way. There are some parts where even I can tell I'm not the Japanese speaker, where even I can tell, okay, yes, the translation is not really on point, but for a game this massive, did a great job.
And what I want you always to consider, you playing fucking teenagers, and certain dialogues are kinky or cheesy as a fucking teenager with superpowers would be. Always keep in mind, if you play a Persona 3, 4, or 5, they are always fucking teenagers. You can't expect them to have adult behaviors. Okay, some characters have, because they're forced
Some
to.
character do, yeah.
But always consider that this is... that you're playing fucking teenagers, so don't expect hard-boiled adults. That's an important thing many people are missing.
Think like a teenager. Persona 5. Okay, that's it for the Persona 5 talk. We're going to dive into spoilers later, and now we have our segment for what mangas have we last read or animes have we last watched. Wraith, what have you last watched? What have you last watched? My English is really wow.
Wait, didn't you work as a Dolmetscher?
Dude, don't please not on. Oh god.
Oh god, no, of course you're a little bit nervous because you're saying so much on this podcast,
I'm super,
which many people will watch here, and thus you're really nervous to fulfill the expectations of the general public.
Yes. All the two people hearing this, I'm very, very nervous right now because this is my very first podcast that will actually go live. But no problem.
Yeah.
What is the last thing that you have seen or read?
Yeah, I watch a lot of shows. So, but the last series I watched, I have to say I really hate the name binge watched, because before binge watching was a thing, we called it, I marathoned that show.
Yes, we just marathoned it. Yeah, I know that term. Yeah.
And now I have to say binge watched them, so everyone immediately
I binge watched it.
You know what?
Yeah,
no,
I know that.
We are going to establish marathoning for our podcast.
Okay, you marathon through it. Yeah. I like that more.
And
this
while
is great.
working, I completely rewatched Gundam Build Fighters Try, which is a Gundam show, but not in the typical sense. Now, Gundam Build Fighters Try is a sequel to Gundam Build Fighters, but you don't actually have to watch the first season. The second season is set 7 years after that, and the main protagonist is someone who never heard of Gundam and starts to play Gunpla. And that's why it's good for anyone to get into it without having seen the first season or Gundam itself. Because just like the main character, you can be a newbie and learn all about it, and then go on watch other series if you're interested in it. So, Gundam Build Fighters Try. In Gundam Build Fighters, Gundam is basically the most beloved anime. Basically, it's Japan worldwide. And you can use your model kits of these Gunplas put them on this machine, and you can actually use them to fight against each other. So it's basically every Gundam fan's wet dream, because they use these model kits that are based on the mechs from the show, but you can customize them to your own liking, to what you would like, and then use your own custom created Gundams or mechs to fight with other people. And that's just the feeling of that is what most Gundam fans can really relate to, but also other people get the feeling of, yeah, I put so much work into it to make it a model kit that really fits my own character, my own fighting style, and then you can actually use it to fight, and that's why it's so relatable. And
it sounds like a very cool idea. Yeah.
And what I like is in Gundam Build Fighters, the main character were part of the world tournament, and it was much too big, but at the same time not serious enough. You had it like the world tournament, but then instead of fighting, because the producer of that tournament was so corrupt and wanted to get rid of one of the main characters participating, that he did shit like baseball with your model kits and so many filler shit that wasn't really interesting and well. And you had this world tournament where the protagonists are kids and stuff, and it just was going for too much. And the second season is way better because it's a U50 tournament, under 15 tournament, so you have kids, and they take this way too seriously, but it makes sense because they're fucking kids. So and the whole series is just one big tournament arc of the under 15 for Japan, not a world tournament, and you get to spend much more time with them, with the characters, with the rivals. Even some that only get one episode are so well established that you feel like you get their characters, and it's sad that they only have this one episode, but that just goes to show how well these characters were established, with many of these characters having very different characters.
A quick question: is this Gundam Build Fighters Try? Is this from this season or
no? It's Gundam Build Fighters Try. 2015, I think. It's going to get a new spin-off soon. We don't know what it exactly is, but it's announced. And the thing is, with Gundam Build Fighters Try, you have three main protagonists that all fight together, and every one of them gets an arc later on, really reflecting how they are as a person. The main character is a martial artist who, with the help of his martial artist, is a good fighter, even though he's a beginner, because the system is very intuitive, and he can use martial artists to play this game. Then you have the builder, who's more the smart guy, who is really good at building the gun class and modifying them. And then you have the girl that is support, that helps both of them be more special. And then you might think, well, of course, the girl is the supporting role, and that's kind of typical, but that's exactly the point where the series turns around, because everyone has their arc. The guy who's in building, and he's really good at that, but he does lack a bit in the fighting department, or in being, more not self-conscious, but more to get more self-esteem. So he has this arc where he says, I'll stop running away and head front confront things. That is not typical of him. The girl itself gets defeated by the super cool lady who she admires, and then she noticed what she lacks, because she's always just the supporting role instead of being active herself. Let the guys do their thing because they're so good at it, and I just support them. And she still a support unit.
So we just get
But she decides, Fumina decides, look, I can support, but I can also get there in myself and surprise them with the things I can do. And the main character is also confronted with the limit of his martial arts, where he fights someone of his own school who outclasses him, and realizes and develops a own fighting strategy where he combines his martial arts with gunplay itself and creates a new form of his martial arts. And and that's
cool.
why it's a really, really well done tournament arc. Like a typical shonen tournament arc, but it's so well done. Every character is so well developed by the end that it really pays off to see them win at the end. Because with this show, it's very clear they're probably not going to lose in the tournament itself. So you have to be really solid to make it believable that they will go that far. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed is that the final fight only had one episode, but it's still good enough. You always risk with having 2 episodes of stretching too much because they had their development. So in the final fight, it's more the payoff of how much they developed. They're not really developing anymore at that point.
Well, okay, but we have some solid character development. It seems, and yeah, maybe I will check that out. It sounds interesting from
I really say start with the second season, and if you really like the second season, then you can give the first season a try, because some things are not explained in the second season. Characters that are already there, but since they are only sub characters and they're not really that much important to the story, you can go around with for the first part ignoring them and just say and if you're really interested you can go watch the first season, but I just think the second season is so much better.
The thing is, I mean, just when I hear the name Gundam, I get a little bit scared, right? Because there are like 50 different shows, and they are going on and on and on. I heard about how great Arrow Blooded Orphans is. I even checked it out. I think it was great, but I have like.
But the thing is, it's not really mechs. They have these plastic models with whom they fight, and they get all serious about.
Yes, it's more like Beyblade, right? In that manner.
Yeah, well. In a way, yes, but Beyblade is to compare. But the idea with the tournament arcs, yes. But for one thing, I think it's one of the best tournament arcs I've ever seen, compared to a lot of shonen series.
Wow.
And
that's wow.
Since the whole season is just one big tournament arc, you have this feeling of finishing, it's completed. You saw where the story is going, and that's why it's a really good watch and one series you can really well watch in one marathon. So,
dude, I'm just seeing here Gundam Build Fighters Try Island Wars.
That's an OVA.
First of that,
that's special.
Oh, that's an OVA. The characters look older there. Is that set in the future or what?
No, it's set after the second season and is gives you a little bit of insight of what happened.
Where the characters are.
Yeah, and what with the character happened in the first season. It's additional.
Okay.
That's why I said Gundam Build Fighters Try stands very good alone. You don't really need the specials, only if you want to watch all of it. But if you just want a really, really good tournament arc, Gundam Build Fighters Try is really good at that.
Okay, then tell the viewers where can they watch it.
At Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll edited just a short while ago. Added complete Gundam Build Fighters. So you can watch it legally at Crunchyroll.
Okay, legally at Crunchyroll. American only or?
Well, I watched it at Crunchyroll, my rewatch. So I would say, at least in Germany, it's also available. Which is not a common thing. Right. Many of the shows are not watchable, which pisses me off. At Crunchyroll.
Yes, that's why I'm specifically asking, because a lot of shows that got licensed didn't make it here in Germany. Too bad. That's very, very too bad. some are extremely censored, but let's not go into detail. Okay, so that's Gundam Build Fighters Try. Interesting show. I might check that out when I have the time.
And it's
That's
vastly different from other Gundam shows, and it's a good show to start if you never really watched Gundam.
Okay, awesome. That's great. That's what I like to hear. Okay, then I'm not even scared anymore to check that out.
So now it's your turn to present something you last read.
Yes, so the last thing that I read that I wanted to talk about, so this is about a manga, not an anime show. It's a manga that started recently, I'd say 3-4 months ago, and it's such a fucking great thing. I love it so hard. It's Dr. Stone by two authors, for one story writer and an artist, and First things off. So, the whole premise of the story is what would happen if all of society gets turned into stone gets turned to stone, and some of us or some may not awake after 3,000 years. So 3,000 years pass in the story. There's this guy named Senku. He's really into science and stuff like that. He's somewhat kind of a scientist, but he's still going to high school. And he has his friend who's called I think his name was Taiju. I have to look that up. I'm sorry.
Just to say, only in anime and comics you can be a high school student and a professor at the same time.
And a scientist, of course, yeah. And he's super smart. Like he invents robots and shit. He's like, and this is set on modern day, like this universe. You even see Trump in the first chapter. It's no joke. And here's the thing. It's just a normal day at the high school, and Senku and Taiju are big friends. And Taiju is just this big, very friendly muscle guy at the high school. Senku's best friend, and he's helping him out when Senku needs raw muscles for his developments. And yeah, one day Taiju wants to reveal to his crush that he's in love with her, and that he wants her to be his girlfriend. And her name is Yuzuriha. Oh my god, my fucking Japanese names, man. Yuzuriha. He's telling her, hey, Yuzuriha, I love you. And right before he wants to do that, fucking everyone turns into stone, and fucking 3,000 years pass. That's the main gist of it. And I love especially the part where everyone in the world is turning to stone. Like, you see all of different scenarios. You see different places on Earth, like Rome. You see Mexico. You see fucking Donald Trump turning into stone. It's so great. And yeah, everyone is basically dead for 3,000 years. And after that...
I have to make the obvious joke. When Trump turns to stone, then, well, he kind of succeeded in building a wall.
Oh yeah, definitely. Kind of, yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Taiju awakes after 3,000 years, after 3,000 years of trying to stay conscious. Because the manga kind of tells you that you turn into stone and your conscious fades after some time, and if you got crushed as a stone, you are dead. That's it. You're done for. But if you're just the stone statue, you are still alive, but your consciousness fades. And Taiju, he kept his conscious for all these fucking 3,000 years because he really wants to make sure Yuzuriha is fine, and he wants to make sure that he can tell her that he loves her. That's the thing. And that's why his consciousness is still there all the 3,000 years, and after these 3,000 years he just awakes. He's right there again.
I have to say, now I'm kind of scared, because 3,000 years, and one of the typical
Dude,
shonen
just
thing is
no.
that they never confess their love. I really hope this isn't turning out to be that kind of story.
let me you will. It's not that kind of story. Here's the thing. So he awakes. He finds his girlfriend. He finds Yuzuriha, his crush. He sees, okay, she's safe, but she's still stone. And he finds Senku, and Senku is not a stone anymore since for a few weeks now. And Senku is just there and saying, "Hey, dude, I developed something for the past few months that could help regenerate humanity." So he found, and this is what I love about this manga. I have no idea about science. I'm a total dummy when it comes to science. But in this manga, they always try to, or Senku always tries to give the reader a little bit of details on what is going on when he's developing something, and he's developing this stuff that makes people turn into humans again from stones, right? And he's really trying to give us the feeling that yes, this is how I do it. This is what the kind of nutrients that I'm using, and this is how it works. In reality, of course, this doesn't work. But and this is kind of this is some of the criticism that I hear for this title, is that, oh no, all the science facts are bullshit, blah blah blah. But that's not the point of the manga, so it's all right. It's just for an effect, right? This I don't like people doing that. So this is just one thing to get you started.
This is fucking story where people turn into stone for 3,000 years. Like
yes, like they want to, like for example, they want to in one specific chapter. I can't say why now, but they want to make gunpowder, right? And they are going into very specific details on how to make gunpowder. And on how to make a bomb and things, and so many people in the comments on Manga Stream were like, no, this is not how it works, blah blah blah. But this is not what the story is about, right? So it's okay, you can do that. This is not a science manga in particular that needs to teach us.
From the sound of it, the show doesn't try to be realistic at all. It just tries
not that realistic, in its own way realistic, but in its own world and its own design, but not in a very realistic way.
For example, what I find funny is, for example, Shokugeki no Soma. It's very over the top, but all the recipes they cook, you can actually cook. It's not just that they're not that special in reality.
Right. Yeah, but it's very hard, to be honest.
Yeah,
I didn't even try, but
some of the dishes are very simple. Basically, the dishes the main protagonist makes are not that hard to make compared to others. But I think this is kind of depending on what kind of manga you're writing. Because
of course,
established really fast that it's the main focus is comedic fan service with well explained cooking, but this show is almost the opposite.
It's almost the opposite, because it's just an idea. It's just an idea. What if humanity, and just put comedy to it and some action, some shonen. That's all there is to it. But here's the thing. Now, Senku is awake for quite some time. He has the stuff that he made, where he can make people from stone to human again, and he also says he takes some time to make this stuff. So the next chapter is just about how they are trying to get these nutrients done. They do that. And while they do that, some lions attack them. Apparently, animals. Most of the animals are fine, and they are now the rulers of the earth, how it should be, right? And the lions attack them, and they don't stand shit against the lions. And this is, I love this, and everyone everyone was like, oh shit, it's cars. And here's the thing. you know Cars from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, who turns into... this is spoiler for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2 right now. Quick spoiler. At the end of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2, the main villain, Cars, is a dude with a long hair. He gets turned into stone because he gets shooten up into space. And there's this guy that's... his name is Tsukasa in Dr. Stone. And he's a long-haired guy. He's stone, of course, like everyone else. And everyone... Senku and Taiju know him. Because he's known for being one of the most strongest people on Earth, or blah blah blah, anything like that, you know? One of the most strongest high schoolers on Earth? I don't know, anything like that. And he... I love this. They fight against these lions. They don't stand a fucking chance because these fucking lions. And they go to Tsukasa and they say, "Okay, put the nutrient on Tsukasa. Let's revive him because we need his help." And they revive him. And while he's being revived, all the stone gets torn apart from him. And he looks at them. He's not even half conscious. And Senku's like, "Okay, we need your help right now. We tell you after that what happened." And he's like, "Okay, come on, give me the situation." He's totally in. Like the first second he's awake, and he just one shots these lines. Of course that's bullshit, but it was so awesome. These are the kinds of imagery that Boichi gives you in this manga. It's wow, holy shit! It's just great.
With Cars, you want to say basically that this is a continuation of JoJo.
So okay, people in the comments were going crazy when Tsukasa first was a thing here, and I think it was chapter 3 or 4. People were going crazy because he just looks like a younger version of Cars, and he was stoned, and he gets turned into, and he has a very... How should I put this? The way he speaks and the way he acts kinda reminds you of Cars in some ways. So here's the thing: he wakes up and he's now the not only the muscles of the team, because Taiju's also the muscles, but he's the fighting skill of the team. If they get into any kind of trouble, he can just one-shot them because he's so strong. And here's the thing. All this time, you think, okay, they are just rebuilding civilization. Everything's going to be fine, right? Well, no. In the 4th chapter, the story gets really intense because Tsukasa... We learn that Tsukasa is not fond of adults, and he hates adults for what they are. And he crushes their stones. Like, he goes around killing people. And Senku's like, "Hey, you know that you just committed murder, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want all the kids to survive, but all the fucking adults, they can stay stone or die or whatever, because we don't need them. We need a new civilization. We don't need the old crappy civilization we had before." And so Senku and Tsukasa go into an argument where Senku sees for himself, okay, this dude is fucking nuts, and he seriously only wants to revive children, and he's going to kill us if we don't go by his rules. So Senku is like, "Nah, we are not going to do that," and runs away from him, tries to steal the nutrients with which he can revive all the people. And this is when somewhat of a fight between Taiju, Senku, and Tsukasa break out, and they know on raw power they don't have a chance to stand against him, so that's why they want to make gunpowder just to threaten him if he wants to do anything. And it's going crazier and crazier and crazier from this point on forward. I just don't want to spoil too much. There are 11 chapters available right now. Only thing I can say is, yes, Yuzuriya gets awake in the, I think, 5th chapter. They revived her too. And Wraith, here's the thing: you didn't want this to be like every manga where the main protagonist doesn't say that he loves her, anything like that. Well, here the thing is, in the beginning she knows that he wants to confess to her, and later in the story, they're like in a hot tub. And he's like, yeah, I wanted to confess to you, but I'm not going to confess to you until we've rewoken civilization, blah blah blah, or until we are safe or anything like that. So of course he's not going to confess. It's this kind of story, but she already knows, and they are kinda a couple, and they behave like a couple.
Yeah,
So
it's
it doesn't
still,
it doesn't really matter.
It still annoys me that they just can't come out because
Yeah,
you
but
wouldn't have the suspense.
In this,
But
trust
couldn't
me,
you just
trust me.
couldn't they just have done it that because he was 3,000 years in stone that he really didn't care about her anymore and then just had to learn again
that would be too bad because he's still very much in love.
Yeah, but
she's in love with him too. You can see that.
Yeah, but after 3,000 years and when he was conscious, you could easily he doesn't really remember much about her, and you could just say he has to fall again in love with her. That it just normally develops. But this way is they're kind of a couple, but it's never confirmed because they don't say it to each other. That's like
but in this story, believe me, you don't care. Believe me, it's really just in the background of things because the whole thing with Tsukasa and Senku is just so well done, so well executed. It's you just don't care about other shit at this point. And here's the thing. Okay, so I want to say something about the author. This guy, wait, let me check up his name first. Dr. Stone, we have here. Okay, so Inagaki Riichiro is the writer of this story. And this is the luckiest motherfucker alive because I would kill to be in his place right now because he has fucking Boichi as the artist. Imagine you can just have any artist you want.
Maybe explain who Boichi is.
I'm going to do that. Imagine you can choose any artist you want and you just pick one of my favorites. Boichi is the fucking dude from Korea that did Sunken Rock, one of my most favorite seinen works. One of them, of course.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good stuff about that manga.
Oh, dude, check out Sunken Rock. It's such a good work. This guy doesn't just draw awesome, he fucking does art in some panels. Like, this guy can really draw very, very nicely. In Dr. Stone, you see that some of the time, but in Sunken Rock, you see that all the time. I even have my girlfriend got me the Sunken Rock art book for Christmas. I love the fuck out of it. This is one of my favorite artists.
I just want to say, the white stuff in the art book is hard to clean off now.
He's not doing straight up, dude.
Yeah, you love the fuck out of it.
Hentai, but I do have hentai art books too. But they are not just that well drawn because it's not fucking Boichi who drew them.
It's just a joke because you said I love the fuck out of it. So.
Yeah. No, it's just dude, I adore his drawings. He's doing a great work, and this Riichiro guy, man, he's got a very, very talented artist at his side for this work. Just fucking great. So yes, I for this manga recently started. It's at 11 chapters right now. You can read it. Unfortunately, if you're not living in Japan and read Japanese, then you're only beta scanlations right now. But I would really say that if you read it online and you like it, just wait until it's licensed and then buy it. I will definitely do this. I will still read this on a weekly basis. But I will definitely buy the first volume when the day it comes here into Germany. Definitely love the fuck out of it. Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. I still will wait before I read it because with 11 chapters, that's just a terrible wait. Once if I start it and I like it and then have to wait. Because
waiting is the difficult part.
It works with other shows, but like Boku no Hero Academia, for example, had so many chapters before I started reading it that it didn't feel like, because 11 chapter, I'm not even 1 hour into that. Like, that is depressingly little.
Well,
So
Okay, 11 chapters for me is like a good hour for me because
I'm
I
I
tend
read manga
to
so
be
fast. I've like
I dude, if I would be just reading, I would be done in a few minutes. But the thing is,
yeah, I know what you mean.
I
Admiring the artwork, etc. Like taking
yeah,
it in,
I'm really
but I'm
taking my
still very
time.
fast with these kind of things. I like Attack on Titan took me only a few hours. It was up to date. Like
Yeah, Attack on Titan is really yeah.
like even if it's a long show, I get fast through it really fast. Maybe not Shogeki no Soma because that has really long explanation bubbles, so it does
Do
take
try to read
longer.
Detective Conan or Case Closed.
Why the
You
hell
can
would I
take your
watch
time
that
with
shit?
that.
Like, I'm done with Detective Conan. I will never ever.
I'm done too for quite some time now. I always get my updates from a friend who still reads it if the story is
Updates.
going anywhere.
Updates.
Yeah, updates in terms of every 2 years he's saying like, oh, something happened
With a
but
man
it's
in
not
black
really a thing.
in one chapter.
Yeah, showing up and then disappearing again, and that's it, right?
Okay, so yeah,
So that's it for our manga anime talk. We have a quick word from our sponsors. No, we don't have any sponsors. I'm sorry that we don't. I would like to have some sponsors.
sponsors
If you hear us,
no,
sponsor us, and we will buy your shirts for sure.
shirts.
Okay.
When we when we don't even have a video yet, maybe
we don't
get it
even,
in
yeah,
future.
we have nothing.
Well,
This is great. This is great. I love
can't
this
say
podcast
sponsor
so far.
because the dangerous P word is going to come up. Patreon. You know, that's
we are going to have a Patreon, right? We didn't discuss this yet, but maybe we don't.
Let's be fucking honest about it. Patreon account it's such a, it has a bad connotation, the word, but basically if you do this regularly and people like it, I say maybe we do one Patreon account, but it really depends on the situation. We didn't create this now to have one pre-made. We just want to see if few people like this, and after a few episodes, if you like it enough, then that's a potential, but not a necessarity.
maybe a potential income for getting up the technically or quality to get it better and to make better stuff for you. That would be awesome. But for now, let's not talk about this because this is somewhat into the future.
It's like Harry Potter.
We just started our first podcast.
It's a name you're not supposed to say. Volde Patreon.
Oh boy. Okay, this is awesome. So our very last thing for today, and we're going into spoiler territories here, is our Persona 5 spoiler talk.
So yeah, what do you want to complain about first?
Okay. Let's okay. Here's our bumper. Now we are in spoiler territory. Holy fucking shit! Right off the bat, what I wanna say is, I cannot believe how they wrapped up the whole Shido thing with the last boss fight when the song plays that we talked about before, Rivers in the Desert. Like, holy shit! Like, it was an easy fight for me. Don't get me wrong. It was like no big deal.
Played it on normal,
but I loved. Yes, I played it on normal. But what I loved about it was the different phases, the music that kicks in. What I at the first I didn't even get what this guy wants from me. Like he has this giant golden thing, and it's turning into all different kind of
well,
things.
the first thing was a lion, then it turns into a griffin, and the last thing is a pyramid.
Pyramid, yes. And then he turns into... I love this. I want this in Persona 5 Arena so bad. Buffed up Shido, where he's like all muscles, and he looks like a fucking crazy dude.
So going with tropes, you could have said, that's not even my final form. Like
yeah.
But
I love that shit.
Just the symbolism in Persona 5 is ridiculous cool. For example, the thing is a lion of human sacrifice, then the rings of human sacrifice, and then the tomb, which of course relates to how his political view of Japan is. And really all the messed up stuff is really well represented in him. And well, the main theme of Persona 5 is of course sins. I don't know what was his sin. Which specific sin? Was it vanity? No. Greed.
I'd say all of them.
No, yeah, well, you can. It depends.
Well, last was in there.
You can.
Or gluttony. Gluttony would be best choice, I think.
What was it? Gluttony? Well, a lot of because greed was by Kaneshiro, the third boss.
Yeah, Kaneshiro was greed. Kamoshida was last.
Yeah.
Madarame. What was Madarame?
Yeah, was it vanity?
Oh yeah.
Because certain characters were represented by certain sins. It was a bit different because vanity and apathy were part of it, which are usually not deadly sins. So yeah. No, I don't remember. Well, what sin would you associate with Shido?
With Shido, honestly, gluttony or straight up greed, but greed is Kaneshiro, so I'm not sure. What I mean, do they all have to be sins? Because Sayanijima was not a sin, I think, or was she envy? I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, envy is a good choice for her, I think. I do think every opponent was supposed to represent a sin. Some are just not as clear,
extreme as
yeah,
others.
For example,
yeah.
Well, the Kamoshida so obviously lust. Kaneshiro so obviously greed.
Yes.
Futaba was supposed to be a sloth or apathy.
Yeah, apathy or sloth, yeah.
And yeah,
Shido, I'm not sure, but Shido was just this man. When I think about
he's very prideful. Yeah, I think pride.
Yeah, pride. Of course, he's pride. Yeah, of course.
I mean,
of course, all the things he did with and we warned you about spoilers. All the things he did to Akechi.
Yeah, well, of course, because he's this bastard child.
Just because he's... Yes, exactly. What did you think... Okay, this is the next question that I have. What did you think about the character Goro Akechi?
Well, the thing is, I don't think it's a particular bad character, but first of all, the reveal that he would be the traitor was too fucking obvious.
Oh, yeah.
Like, of course... I think what they're going for, they didn't even try to make it a mystery, because that was what Persona 4 was about. It was trying to find out who was the murderer behind all of it. So having it again would kind of be just unnecessary, I think, at this point. Well, his motives are, well... It's hard to say. He is a bit similar to the main villain of Persona 4. But his motivations are a bit different. He is, of course, the one character that is also grey, because he seems evil after his reveal, but it's really, he's completely social inadept, and which is really nice represented because he has two personas. Like the main character, he's a wild card, so he can use multiple personas.
Right.
But
he's
but
the pendant to we learn that later in the game that he's the pendant
Joker.
to Joker.
And it's really rare. He can only use two personas, and both from his Justice social link, because he never built up social links like Joker. Joker can use so many personas because he built up social links to so many persons, and thus chaining their powers. And even so, Akechi is more skilled than any single character of your party, but because he's all alone, he loses against them, and he thinks he wonders why they are so special, but they aren't that special. He is special. He just doesn't think he is, which is of course inferiority. How do you say inferiority complex?
Inferior, yes.
Which was created by his circumstances.
Okay, but here's the thing: in the you just brought that up in the boss fight. When you have the Akachi boss fight, and then there's this part I didn't get that at all, where he glares at Joker, and in the next part he does a very big attack to Joker, but I didn't get that, and I was like, hey, okay, why is he glaring at Joker?
That's just a usual gameplay element of Persona. We had that with Anne as well. But Anne was primarily targeted by
but
Kamoshida.
Here's the thing. Wait. Here's the thing. Because when Kamoshida's boss looks at Anne,
he's going to lick her.
He just wastes a turn. He's just wasting a turn. Nothing afterwards is happening.
He's attacking her.
Are you sure?
Yes, you're supposed to guard.
Okay.
You're supposed to guard because he used a strong attack against her.
Oh, I didn't guard with her and I was totally fine.
Yeah, well, you played on normal, so maybe it didn't make such...
Yeah, but normal doesn't make the game super easy, right? I mean...
But
because I know how I badly got killed from Akechi when he was glaring at Joker. And I wasn't doing anything at all.
Well, I played on hard, and he definitely attacks, and it's one of his patterns. Similar, a lot of characters have this kind of patterns.
Yeah.
But
the glaring of Akechi glaring at Joker.
The glaring at him is just because Joker is the only social link he has. So it's the only one he established.
Yes.
So he's kind of obsessed with him. Which is
okay. I wanna tell you what I think of Goro Akechi, and it's that
he likes pancakes.
He likes pancakes. The very first introduction of him was like this high school ace detective,
which is, by the way,
dude, I hate this trope. Like, I can't stress how much I hate this trope, and I hated this guy. I was like, no, please. No, I don't want him in this party.
The thing is, he's called the second coming of the Princess Detective, which is a subversion, because in part 4, you got also a child detective.
Yes.
But Naoto is, even though she had social problems, she was not as bad off as Akechi, obviously. Because with Persona 4 a lot the game was mainly about identity, and Kanji and Naoto were both characters that had to question their own sexual identity, and Naoto kind of forced herself. She wore manly clothes, even though she was a very well-built female, so she always came across as a boy. Because she has kind of what Makoto and Sai have even stronger, is this inferior complex, because the society doesn't allow women to be independent and strong and have
So
the whole Japan thing. And
just the Japan thing.
But she was legitimate, intelligent, and figured like Akechi, she was throughout the story. But even though she didn't know about Persona, she was much faster in finding hints than our other characters. And she was the last character to join, similar to Akechi, who's also the last character to join. And he's a subversion because, well, he And that's after you learn it, it's kind of cool because he caused all of his, almost all of his of cases. He actually cleared up. He was the cause of a case which he himself, how do we say it, solved.
Yeah.
And which of course changed the whole expectations of him, because he's not the charming detective prince. He's a cunning and quite atrocious
He's a
human being.
He's pretty much a pathetic human being who doesn't really who has the biggest problem of them all, and that's having the worst parent in particular. So here's the thing about Akechi. So it turns out he's the traitor. He's forming this deal with the Phantom Thieves, where he's like, okay, I'm going to let you go. Because I found out that you are the Phantom Thieves. I'm going to let you go if you help me get the heart of Sainijima. So you do that, but in reality, Joker figured him out. Everyone figured him out, and they do a counterplan against him because they know he's going to try to fuck everything over once they are finished with Sainijima.
By the way, I have which boss stands for which sin. So Kamoshida's lust.
Oh, okay.
Madarame's vanity. Kaneshiro's gluttony, not greed.
Oh.
Which it fits because he's a fat person that indulges.
Because he's a fat guy, yeah.
He indulges in other things. The money is just a way to indulge. Futaba is wrath. Okay. I would also say she's love.
Futaba's wrath?
Well, of her, because the main boss is the version of her mother.
Oh yeah, okay. The mother is okay.
So that's the theme of the palace, but Futaba's theme would be love, I think. Okumura is greed. Okay, that works as well because he exploits his employees.
Yes, makes
Nijima's
sense.
envy, also pretty obvious. Shido is pride, as we figured out, and Mementos.
Yes.
Mementos is love, which also fits.
Mementos is
It fits with the theme at the end with the main boss.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. Of course.
So now we were at Akechi, and Akechi by English pronunciation, Akechi.
I'm calling him Akechi because of the English version, but I don't care. I just call him that. Everyone knows who it is.
He's Pancake. Okay. Pancake works with both languages.
Akechi, Pancake. He's Pancake. So Pancake just figures out. Oh God, I was found out. First he gets his plan where he kills Joker. But in reality, he didn't kill Joker. He just killed his cognitive version. What
I really liked is, which I think they could expand it on, is how they used the metaverse. For example, something that wasn't used again when they apprehended Joker. They planned it beforehand. They brought police officer into the metaverse. A lot of them.
Right. Yes.
And it's a shame that wasn't explored
they didn't
more.
Expand on this at all. Yes.
Because. Yes. They could just prove Sai is a metaverse if they take her with them, and it would be easier to convince her. But it was kind of clever how they, in the end, tricked Akechi. The whole setup in the because they figured out beforehand, there would be interrogation room, and they could just use the metaverse to fake his kill. Because I thought, of course they're going to use the metaverse and get him out of there or something. And yes, they did get him out of there, but they did even more. They faked his death because every palace can have a cognitive version of someone else. Just like how in the first palace, Kamoshida, there was a perverted Anne she wore a bikini because he thought that way of her. And so they
that was his cognitive version of her.
So basically, they had just had to get a cognitive version of Joker to replace him, And since he doesn't
Yes.
speak much anyway, it's not really easy to notice a difference between him. And Akechi killed the fake Joker, which is
Yes,
interesting.
he killed the fake Joker.
That
Yes.
no, some people may say, well, that was an extreme gamble, but yeah, they were aware of that. They had to
It was an extreme gamble, of course.
They had to convince Sai to help them with the telephone.
Yeah.
And she.
This is what you do. By the way, this is what you do the whole game, right? Until that point, you talk with the Joker, tells her all about the probation year so far.
Yeah.
And what has happened,
this,
and how
I
the Phantom
have to be
Thieves,
honest,
were
this
a
was
thing.
a bit overdone. This because every time you establish
because
a
it was
social link, you go back to
Yes.
her and she says
every time.
"Oh, you must have
Yeah.
learned to talk. Did you have connections to a politician?"
Did some kid show you how to use a gun?
No,
in
no,
the
she said,
arcade?
"Oh, you must have been someone who taught you how to use a gun."
Yeah, I know. I know what
I
she
really
actually
hope
says,
for
but
Persona 5 Golden, Sai gets to meet all the people where you learned your skills.
Yeah.
Like you learned how to shoot because you played shooter games with a kid in an arcade. Like
with
seriously,
Shinya at the arcade,
all the
yeah.
shit you've done is because of that. I did like some things.
This is awesome.
For example, how Hifumi teached him strategy through shogi, because shogi is often,
that was bullshit, dude.
often used as such a kind of strategy game. So that was kind of cool.
It really felt more like having dates with her than playing shogi with her, honestly.
Yeah, but she was intended as a playable character, which I find sad.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, she was kind of a mix.
I was thinking that for Shiho, honestly.
She was a combination of I think later Makoto and Haru got her story parts, because she has also a mother that controls her life, and she's a much quiet introvert and isn't allowed to be show her powerful outside.
By the way, what's up with the Haru confidant?
In what way?
Well, okay, here's the thing. The I didn't do Haru confident because it was grayed out for me.
Yeah, but where you
I
needed for a lot of confidence at the end, you needed a certain stat to reach a certain level, and for Haru you needed gentle.
Well, I was maxed out on everything, to be honest.
Yeah, but so you have to you always have to consider, which is I noticed in the game, that in the last days before a palace, you can't do the social links for your party members, which is kind of annoyed me at times, because I couldn't do certain social links with Yuji or something, because like 1 week before the palace deadline you can't do your party member social links.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. But I was doing Haru pretty late as well, because I didn't have max gentleness.
I mean, she's the I'm gonna be straight up about this. She's the most uninteresting of the whole bunch, I think. From the characters.
Before I played the game, I really liked her design, but I agree, because we get her so late, and she's so little introduced. And here is Persona 4. Naoto really joined late as well, but with Naoto she was always present in the story beforehand, so you got to know the character beforehand, and so it didn't really matter that the social link came at the end.
Yeah, Haru was just brought up at the...
She came so late in and only had a few moments that you didn't really get to know her, because even Akechi you got to know beforehand.
Also the way she got introduced was kind of I don't know.
Yeah, but
she just came out of nowhere, and then she just stayed, I guess, and I didn't mind her that much.
The way she got into the story did make sense, because her father was an obviously target, and it wasn't unbelievable that she would get by accident into the metaverse.
Yeah, but the way with the whole thing with Morgana leaving the party and finding her, and then she's going to be I think that was kind of it felt rushed.
Yeah, and she didn't have much to do with her father's palace, because if you look at the other characters,
she didn't. She
they
really
had
didn't.
mentioned that Yusuke was a central part of Madarame's palace.
Oh yeah, he was in the fucking works and shit. Yeah.
And Sayuri, the main picture was about his mother and the whited out part where he was as a baby. The Futaba's entire dungeon was about her, which made her introduction really easy. Makoto had not much to do with Kaneshiro itself, but she got another part in Sae's dungeon because it was her sister. So she got well off. The main protagonist has anyway this main motive with Shido, which is through the whole game.
Yes.
Akechi
the whole
too.
Shido thing.
Akechi is present beforehand, and you learn that he has to do with almost all of these palaces.
By the way, I loved the other occasions where Shido's on TV and the main protagonist is not reacting at all.
Yeah, no, but he didn't notice him because he was too confused. He only met the guy for 20 minutes and was completely accused of a crime, etc. So I guess it's easy to remember him, but he was bored.
Yeah.
So it's of course you can criticize that he didn't remember him until
but I mean, you're totally right on that. I mean, he saw him for 20 minutes, and the thing is, in the cutscene you don't really see his face, so
not much
at the beginning. You don't really see you see his eye, and he says "Asu," and that's it.
And his voice will sound a bit different than in TV than in the reality. I mean, he heard he heard a few lines of this guy and then was apprehended by the police. At the dark evening, how much would you remember such a person? It's debatable. Yes, it's not completely unjustified.
It's just a funny fact, I think, but that's it. It's not a big point. Okay, so
how
let's
be expanded on in Golden, definitely.
Wraith, we can't have this go on forever. I wanted to necessarily talk about. What I want to hear from you is what do you think Persona 5 Golden will add in terms of. I just want to give this out. Really
well, this is part of what I wanted to say. What I want them to add and what I think they will add. Now, they should add more content to Haru. She should have more appearances beforehand. I think they will add Akechi as a playable character for the whole game. I think his because you didn't see his death, I don't think it is a death. Even if
I hope they don't do that. To be honest, I really hope they not.
I think it will
I like the tragedy of this character.
Yeah, you can
destroy it.
No, I don't think that much because he's so powerful, and to lose to a cheap copy of himself. What I want, because let's face it, they definitely will make Akechi a playable character. He was in the polls in Japan one of the favorite characters of the public.
Yeah, because people were stupid. That's why.
Yeah, of course. But what I think they should add him and make it an optional thing, because if he survives, he can make things up. If he makes if he goes to police and makes a statement, because then Joker doesn't have to go to juvenile, because he goes to juvenile because he's the only one left to take the testimony.
Wait, are you serious? You are right. You're totally right.
So if Akechi
that means
survives,
that if you don't go to juvenile, the game can go on. Technically,
and
you can still have some of the game.
Yeah, and that's why I think they can also add another dungeon, because
holy shit! You're totally right.
Persona 4 Golden got another dungeon, another new character, and you would create a lot more potential if you let Akechi join the party, get this revenge, and then you can have a subversion of these breakdowns the villains have, which is funny because it's a parody of this politician in Japan who cried out, "It's not my fault." I don't know if you have seen it.
Yeah.
And he could be the straight man if he say, "No, my heart wasn't changed by the Phantom Thieves in that way, but commit to his crimes on television, say that Shido is his that he's a bastard son of Shido, and so basically he takes the bullet for Joker, so he doesn't have to go juvenile. You have more time to spend with your love interest, etc. And
that would be great.
Then another thing they're going to add for Persona 5 Golden, I think, is because they didn't have time, they didn't add a female protagonist. Now, Persona 4 didn't have a female protagonist, but in Persona 3P, you could switch, you could choose if you want to be a man or woman, or a girl or a boy. Cool. Interestingly enough, they were vastly different in design-wise, because the Persona 3 protagonist is really nihilistic at the start of it, and even design-wise that's reflected. But the female protagonist is much more happy-lucky-going from her design. So
I can see that.
It's a good contrast. Awesome. So I would be interested what a female protagonist in Persona 5 would be, because they gave him a lot of character compared to the previous main protagonists. Like, you can still choose you can still make decisions, but especially using the voice actor of Lelouch, they really established this Joker still has a character beyond your decisions.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool.
So I like that, and of course, I don't know. I say let them add gay roots, because
you know what I really would love for them to add. So here's the thing: you go to the arcade, and all you do is stare at the arcade.
At a minigame for the shooter.
Yes, fucking minigames, please.
Well,
I want to go to the arcade. I want to actually play something.
You had the baseball thing, which I thought were kind of boring and annoying.
Yeah,
then the fishing, which I didn't really do. Because every fucking game...
The fishing wasn't really a minigame. Let's be straight here. The fishing was like...
It was added because every fucking open world game nowadays had fishing.
Yeah, because...
Final Fantasy 15 had fishing, Trails of the Cold Steel has fishing. I'm kind of annoyed by it now, because every game has that minigame.
Yes.
But a shooter minigame, look at Nier Automata. It still worked, and it had shooter.
Oh yeah, it did great. It did very, very well, I think.
So yeah, I agree. That can be added as a minigame.
Yes, I'd love to have arcade minigames, such as when you're playing at home. Make me play something or
you can play video games, but it's more button mashing.
It's more like, okay, I mean don't get me wrong.
So it was cool,
but I think
if you played the fighting game at home, you had to input moves.
Yeah, you had to make critical inputs like in a fighting game. Really, actually motions. It was awesome. I loved that. Great idea. Atlas are anyway. They are fighting game nerds. So they're doing great things to fighting game players.
Well, I wouldn't say so much.
There were quite a few fighting game references.
But from ones that produced themselves wouldn't say so great. I didn't too much Persona 4 Arena.
Persona 4 Arena I didn't really get around to because I never played Persona 4, so... But Persona 5 Arena I would play the fuck out of because I really like those characters. I would really
they're really good as... in Persona 4 Arena they did add some weapons for certain characters, and you don't really need to do that in Persona 5 because they're all very combat oriented.
Well, yeah, that's right. Also, they have really cool weapons, I think. Mm-hmm. So they can do a lot of shit with that. But yeah, that being said, do more stuff with Haru. I'm totally on board with that. Also, in the very last cutscene in the game, There's Haru. Haru is like, hey, there's this friend of mine that needs help. Let's go get him help. I don't know. So they could have done something. I think they will be doing something with that in Persona 5 Golden. Also, there was we never really got a conclusion to the whole what is with the dude that got hots for the main fiance.
I can't even say that because I only got Haru to 7, so I only know that he pestered her to get into a marriage, but she didn't want to. And
yes, she didn't want to, but there are still cutscenes in the game where they are hanging around together.
Well,
you know?
I know what you mean.
Is there maybe
died,
some conclusion to that
she was in the car
shit?
with him, but they should just explain it a little bit more. I think because his company, his dad's company is very much a business partner to Okumura Foods. She has to deal with him anyway, whether it's romantically or not.
Okay, that could be. But do they have to drive in the same car together? That seems kind of odd because of all the things beforehand.
It was kind of staged if you think about it. Everyone was with someone. They knew they were being watched, and they reacted to Joker's stuff like it really hit them.
Yeah,
which was of course fake, but it was.
It wasn't always fake.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
Also, by the way, I before I knew that this game would have had no gay romantics, I was sure it had some because when I saw Yusuke, I was like, oh, okay, he's going to be primarily the gay romance guy that everyone
he's a gay party member, but he's not.
Yes, he's.
You can argue,
member, but I
is
thought
he really gay or is he just really an artistic?
He is. He definitely is. He doesn't care. He didn't want to see Anne's tits. He just wanted to draw them. He didn't. He really didn't care.
I think
he's gay. He's so gay.
No, that's what I mean. You can say he's gay, but you can also say he's very artistic, and that.
No, wait,
because look at Greek.
Greek
Greek is very responsible for art, and that was also kind of normal to be bisexual because a man's body can also be a symbol of beauty, and there is this line between being gay and being really this artist person. But I wouldn't care if there was a gay route because.
I'm going out of dorm.
I say it for Ryuji, being gay would be stupid. Ryuji is not really gay.
It would be really stupid because he's in all his cutscenes. He's like, oh, tits,
not even that bad. And I think Junpei and Yosuke were really much worse than Ryuji. He's just really a normal Japanese guy with normal interest. But I say with Yusuke, let there be a gay route. With Ryuji, doesn't really suit him.
Just let him be gay.
And Akechi can be gay as well because he has some lines. The one time when
Akechi can be too. Of course.
When there's one when he's in the cafe and you talk to him, and one of the options is, "I'm home, honey." So they didn't definitely play with
I
it.
love that.
I chose that.
I had to pick that.
and I'm straight, but I would still say those two can get the gay route. With Ryuji,
I don't care.
It doesn't really make sense. But here, that's why I say Yusuke can be bisexual. There was this one scene when they were driving to Futara's pyramid, and it was so hot, and the girls sweated a lot, and their clothing were transparent, and all three of the guys were looking at her. Ryuji had the most perverted look, but Joker and Yusuke also were kind of looking away at the same time. So there is a certain amount of interest even in Yusuke. But you can just say he can still be bisexual. He can be interested in men and women as same.
Loved it.
Dude,
I loved it when I was saying when I had the option to say yes, I want to get married. And I had already Makoto as my waifu, and she was like, "Oh, really?" And she was like all blushing and stuff, and I was like, "Yeah."
That's something I also want for Persona 5 Golden, a more romantic immersion.
If you more effects on romantic shit.
the dialogue should change even more in other
Yes,
situations.
the dialogue should change even more, and people let people realize that. I mean, if two of the Phantom Thieves are together as a couple, why is that not a big deal? Why are they not talking about it? Oh, because
Well,
they didn't work on
it's
it.
kind of how Japanese society is, but I feel
come on. They would at least
the
talk
game
about
is so
it.
open with its criticism, which is untypical of Japan. I think with romance they can push a bit more in Golden.
Yeah.
For example, I also
they can always say, "Hey, you two are together." Hey,
so
congrats.
the internet
That's
says
it.
it's implied that Cherkun, so Joker, and Makoto had sex, but I never really got that feeling, and that's also something I want because the game, in certain aspects,
Wait,
especially
who had sex? Sorry, what?
where it's implied, so it's not really sad.
Where is implied what?
On Christmas Eve. When she
Oh,
can
you mean
still
the
stay
Christmas-
and do
Nah.
something, but
Yeah,
to me that's not
we-
really much. It's
That's not sorry, but I don't see it.
I don't too,
It's-
but the internet, some say it may be implied.
Yeah, the internet is saying that there shouldn't be gay romance, which kind of saddens me, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I think we should be a little bit
I
more
mean,
open-minded.
I definitely want them to add. I don't want to see a sex scene. I just want to see that it's happening because
I want to see a sex scene. I'm stating that right now here.
yeah, but I have porn for that. But really, for me, it's enough to accept that when they are in a romantic relationship, that a sexual relationship also is happening. That doesn't
Yeah, of
need
course,
to be
of
shown
course.
really that explicit, but I just wanted to be there to because that's a part of this development between
Yeah.
these characters.
By the way, I didn't pick that option. But what happens if you say to her, "Hey, come with me," when she asks you on Valentine's Day, "Hey, you are moving soon, are you?" And you have the option to say it's going to be fine, nothing's going to change, or you can say, "Just come with me." What
I
is she going to
chose that
respond to
option,
that?
but I don't remember. I don't think it was that great of an effect.
I don't.
I
think
only
it was
know
gr-
you
it's
can
going to be
tell her
great.
later when she asks you what you want to do, and then I chose I want to be in the same college as you. So
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. I chose that too. Yeah, right.
So what I definitely need to add is add a romantic option for Sai.
yes.
But
yes.
I think that was cut to her being so late associated. But because you can
Kind of-
you can
kind of
date
a
fucking
strange thing to
everyone
do.
except Sai. So I feel like
Yes.
you don't
Even Takemi, and Takemi, I was thinking like, okay, yeah, she's really the bossy kind. She's
I
older.
actually
but you
wanted
can-
to date her, but
I wanted to, but I was like, I wouldn't get much out of it. That's the main deal why I didn't do it, is because, I mean, again, she has red eyes, so that's a sell. She's gothic, so that's a super sell for me. So I was totally into her. And then I realized, like, okay, yeah, when we're together, nothing really will happen. It's just like some
yeah.
dialogue options, and that's it.
I think whom you chose always also reflects your own personal history. I mean, the character I related
Yeah.
with the most was Futaba, and secondarily it's from Makoto. Because a lot of the social issues Futaba had, I had too, so I could really well relate to her. But I could also relate to Makoto
a lot of
very
people
much.
can relate to Futaba, and I can too in some ways. I like her as a character. I didn't see her as an option for me because
Yeah, to me,
I-
Futaba also was very much a little sister character type. So it was hard
yeah.
to corrupt her into being, romantically involved
this
with
is what
me.
I saw her as a sister too, mainly. I would love to I need to see that on YouTube, because on Valentine's Day Sojiro was like, "Hey, is someone coming over for you because it's Valentine's Day?" And then the girl shows up and he's like, "Oh, hey, it's her. Okay, cool." I wonder what he says if you are together with Futaba at
I
this
don't
point.
think he is even there. Not sure.
I'm going to watch it after we're done.
Yeah. Just, but that was a major reason. Yeah, as I told before, because on Wednesday day, Futaba has almost a social breakdown if you cheat on her, because she is still quite unstable socially. So that was just a heartbreaker. I didn't want to see.
You can't cheat. No, dude, don't cheat on Futaba. Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that. Even so, in Persona 4, I cheated like hell. I got into relationship with everyone because I didn't have a punishment, and even the conscience punishment wasn't so hard, and that's what Persona 5 did so well, because I cared so much about all these characters, and all the NPCs are so much more remarkable and rememberable compared to Persona 3 and 4, where I only remember very few of them, but here there's so many that are so memorable that I won't forget them.
They're very, very lovely cast.
Funnily enough, Eva is a weapon shop seller. Is a homage is a homage for Jason Statham. He's supposed to look.
Is he?
Yeah, he's supposed to look like Jason Statham, which I thought really cool on reading it. And when I noticed the similarities, I go, oh, okay.
But that's interesting. Yes. I mean, now I can see it, but otherwise.
One thing I would like, which is unlikely, is if they really added Hifumi as a party member, maybe as an additional Futaba, with a certain that she's there, but just provides certain.
Do you mean Evi? Because Evi, I don't see him this way, because
not Evi. Hifumi. I was done with. with Evi, because he was originally intended to be a party member, and I really liked her. I was also very close about dating her, and so
because she's just a hottie. She's
hot, and I like her character type.
Yeah, she's cool. I also liked her story. To be honest, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And this was well rounded. Like, she lost her first pro match, and she came out clean before that. So, and that's a thing. It's a bit extreme that almost any social link has some kind of fact problem you have to resolve.
Sometimes you have to go into mementos.
To all the secondary almost, except for the politician. Yes. The politician you can clean without any lock. Yeah. So he's most likely, he was the first one to clear for me, because he's easy to clear. And what I also like is how all realize, you're part of the fandom thieves, right? There's no way you could just change a person. And
everyone's like that. And by the end,
and I'm glad that it's not that hidden, because I really hate the stories where it's so fucking obvious, the Superman reveal. No one noticed that's Clark Kent. And he's pretty much Clark Kent in this situation.
In this situation, yes.
And so I'm really glad that they all noticed him.
By the way, didn't you love that? Didn't you love it when fucking Joker's face was on fucking TV all over the city, and next day you walk just freely, and everyone's like, hey, you're just some kid, right?
His face was never on television. They never showed him.
Well, it was part of his face, and his but his fucking
he
hair
looks like an ordinary Japanese citizen, so like and you didn't have
more or less.
If you had a clear shot, that would be a different story. But he wasn't really show full frontal like all the villains breakdown. So, and he looks kind of if he isn't in clothing, he still looks kind of regular. Like,
well, okay, I bet you someone got to a cafe and took a Vincent to prison, and he was like, hey, I don't know any Phantom Thieves, but
I think
that's how things work now.
Also, he wore a hood. He wasn't like showing people. And I think since you build up social links, Yongen
Jaya,
where you were most of the time, it's quite neighborly. I don't think most of them there would, even if they recognize him, would say anything. Also, he's supposed to be dead.
But the he was supposed to be dead.
That's obviously excuse.
But then he showed his face and he wasn't dead anymore. And also there was this bounty, right?
Yeah, but when he was dead, so there wouldn't be a bounty anymore. Like when people say, "Hey, he looks kind of the course. Guy that died there in the television," but well, he is supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
So
but in the TV thing, they said, "Hey, he's alive. He's here."
Yeah, but that they say that right before they go into the palace.
Yeah, right before they go into the palace, and Shido is extremely stressed and shit like that happens.
Yeah, and then Sojiro is is get by police, etc. But the thing is, they immediately because immediately after they sent the card, they go into the metaverse, or are not at the place anymore. So who cares if he gets recognized, because
even
he can
then,
go into the metaverse anytime.
Yes, and right after the whole Shido thing, the whole Mementos thing starts off real quick. So
so
there's not really much time in between. So nothing really happens.
Yeah, so I think that's okay as a pass. So,
but dude, I okay. What I wanted to say is in the game, I think Shido was really the peak for me personally. I think Shido was the peak of everything, and after you are done with him, you just feel like, okay, I wanna know what's going on with Morgana and the Mementos and things like that. But but some part of me was like, okay, let's finish this already, because I got Shido, so I'm fucking done.
Yeah, I do get that feeling, but that's generally how storytelling works, because Shido was a climax. This means he was a high point of the story. Getting revenge on him basically finished Joker's story arc, and after that it was more the Phantom Thief story arc. But since you know them all so well, it didn't feel as you had much of a purpose, because even going into Mementos was kind of, hey, some things are weird, well, we still haven't cleared Mementos, let's look into it. It wasn't really a purpose in there. So if they add another dungeon or another story event that goes, well, a dungeon you can only add after Christmas, because Shido is exposed on the 22nd and the dungeon happens on the 24th. So another dungeon
also
would be
the final dungeon is I think it was Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah, I did say 24th.
Yeah, the 24th, and only after that you can have another dungeon. Yes.
Yeah. So because I also said the last dungeon was kind of lame compared to the others.
The last dungeon was really they just wanted to
I mean,
they just wanted to throw you very 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 strong personas as enemies, just as regular enemies. And that's it, more or less. They didn't.
To be
have
fair,
anything.
Mementos itself wasn't really a spectacle design.
It was just a roguelike. It was really a roguelike. It was cool to. I liked Mementos for what it was. That you sometimes go into just do some treasures, do some side quests and shit like that. But the end of Mementos, the dungeon itself, was really not great. I didn't even like the puzzle solving that much.
Yeah, that wasn't really that creative. The thing is, one thing that Persona 5 did is that the palaces were destroyed after you finish them, and you couldn't access these dungeons anymore. Which in the in Persona 4 you could access all dungeons. Persona 3 you had the main dungeon, which was like Mementos, and specific story events had their own dungeons that were only at that one specific date where the story was advanced. So I feel you had to get all chests. One thing which annoyed me in Shido's dungeon is there was one chest where I didn't have the lockpick, and after the Akechi event that place is locked off, so I was missing that chest and couldn't get it. Like as a completionist, this annoys me, because on a blind
you didn't have enough lockpicks.
At the time I've created some after that, because in all the other dungeons you can when you make the haste to steal the treasure, you can pick all the treasures you missed. But Akechi,
yeah.
the treasure with Akechi was locked off because there's the wall that Akechi activated when he died.
Okay.
So he couldn't reach that chest anymore.
Honestly, most of what was in the chests wasn't really worth for me that
but
much.
But for me, it's a completionist, you know, leaving a
okay,
chest
yeah,
unopened
I didn't complete the game
me.
either, right? I'm never going to complete Persona 5. I don't need to. I don't want to. So
let's be fair. When Persona 5 Golden comes out, I will play it with a guide on the first playthrough complete to get everything I missed. Because
I'm just
I
going
have too many games to play to finish Persona 5 completely.
Yeah, I'm just going to go for things I didn't get to when I was first playing it, but I'm not going for full completion. So
yeah, with Golden I will probably go for complete.
Yeah.
But just knowing that there will most likely will be a Persona 5 Golden kind of kills my motivation to complete Persona 5 as it is, because I know there will be another one. So what's the point, you know?
Yeah, right. There's not really a purpose. Okay. So
what else?
Overall,
are there other things to add in Persona 5 Golden?
To be honest, I think
I mentioned
you get the gist of it, right? There's you have these different things like mini games and stuff that I wanted. Of course, there's going to be a different dungeon, a new dungeon. Maybe they will do something to the last dungeon, so just to make it a little bit more interesting. But honestly, I don't see that much that they need to really add, because it's such a massive game. It took me 130 hours to beat it. Okay, so I took my time, right? But even if I didn't, it would have took me 100 hours, of course. So yeah, it is a massive game. It has some flaws, but it's doing great at what it does, and they want to add more stuff.
So one thing I want them to add is dungeon-specific songs. Like I don't.
Oh yeah.
Like, for example, with the second, with Madarame's museum, I really want them to have an anchor song. Like, you know.
Oh yeah,
that would really suit.
Yeah.
So I want really specific songs for each dungeons, because since they are palaces of these people, you can add really strong vocal sounds. I do think they have different soundtracks, but they weren't really memorable. I can't tell you what soundtrack was used by which. I think there was some kind of oriental soundtrack with Futaba's dungeon. But compared, for example, to Life is Changed, which always plays when you have in haste, they're kind of forgettable. Like, I don't really remember them.
Yeah, most of them, but the casino, for example, holy shit, I love the casino one. I love the casino music, and I think, I'm not sure, was it Kamoshi? Was it Kamoshi? No, I think it was Kaneshiro.
The third dungeon with the bank. What do you mean?
No. I know what the dungeons look like, but the music. I don't know which one I liked more. There was one of them which I really liked, but I can't make it out right now because I haven't heard it in a while. Well, anyway, I liked some of the dungeon themes, and some of them, like Futaba's, was meh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, more romantic.
The soundtrack is fucking amazing, and I would fucking buy the vinyl one if it wasn't so expensive. So, it's fucking great. It's fucking awesome.
To sum it up, we definitely want more romance additions and expansion of romance itself.
Yeah, and I don't know, but Atlas, be a bit more specific when it comes to romance. Like, just add a little bit more romance.
Don't just add at the surface.
The thing is, if you like, someday you will play Catherine, right? And Catherine has this thing where Sometimes a girl that you are with is like, "Hey, I'm sending you some pictures of me. Don't show them to anyone." And stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Not in an extreme fashion, but
just
some
write to
extent.
Makoto, send nudes, please.
Send nudes, please, and of course, Atlas, just take random artwork from the internet and put them on our phones.
Yeah, well, like a competition
worst
set
idea
our
ever.
best.
Yes.
artworks.
The best artwork gets right in there.
But that's always dangerous. I think some companies tried that, but you will always have copyright problems with that. So it's
Of
hard
course.
to do that.
You know, all this copyright stuff is really ridiculous.
But for example,
Like-
they did take several selfies that had original artwork. So in that sense, that's something they could add more selfies in general.
Yeah,
They're
of course,
not taking
of course.
for this generation. They're not taking enough selfies. I'm disappointed. So I want.
You like selfies this much?
Well,
Rafe?
I'm
Are you
a
a selfie
I'm
guy?
cosplayer. With cosplayers,
You're a cosplayer, but are you a okay? But
well,
yeah.
it goes hand in hand because you're in costume, you're at
It goes
weird
hand in hand,
situations.
yeah.
So I take a lot more selfies nowadays, and I'm not more so criticizing of selfies because selfies existed before the word existed. Like taking a photo of yourself, it's just
of course. Just taking a
and
photo of
selfies
yourself,
are a good way to make memories, and you could add a gallery function with all the selfies taken. Like for example, like in Final Fantasy 15, where Prompto can take photos at specific situations. That would really work great in Persona 5. Because
and 15 it was really overused, and you could smell it from like miles away that they are going to toss them in your face when the fucking credits start.
But I think if you do that feature well,
but it's a great idea.
For example, they could take pictures of the dungeons itself because it's possible. Because Akechi filmed them how they disappeared when they entered the metaverse, so it's definitely possible to take a picture. So wouldn't it be cool if they have memories of the palaces they visited because someone is taking a selfie of it? Like, wouldn't that be a great memory? Like, I really want them to add a selfie and gallery function, but
a gallery function would be awesome.
And add specific artworks. That would be really cool.
Yeah, artworks. I mean, the art style is amazing anyway, and why not some amazing artworks?
And one perverted wish of mine is that you can, if Sai is possible to romance, I want to threesome with Sai and Makoto.
No, okay, you've gone too far, dude. No,
not an explicit one.
This is not going to happen.
Yeah, but
never.
Think of the awkward position when on Wednesday day you date Makoto and Sai only, and they're meeting up. But that situation is really extremely
they're
weird.
meeting up and then they kill you like fucking like, oh god, you just made up with my sister. Oh my god, I need to throw up in your fucking face right now. This is what needs to happen at this moment.
That would be funny.
Like in reality, sisters don't think that's so cool.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
Oh, did you try?
I'm not going into any more details.
No, just it would be what?
No, I never specifically tried anything like that, but I know how sisters react to. I've seen it.
Yeah,
it's
no. The thing is, because Wednesday day happens the same. It's just if it's one more girl, then more lines are added. What I want is specific combinations. So, for example, if you date Sai and Makoto, it would be interesting to see how they react once they meet. Like,
yeah, I want to see a reaction too. It doesn't have to be a particularly funny one, but I want to see a reaction. Like here, Valentine's Day, I want to see, like, dude, you've dated 5 girls. They're all going to meet up. They're going to see each other. They're going to fucking bust your nuts like crazy.
Well,
I want to see that.
They beat him up.
Physical punishment.
That happens if you cheat.
Oh, that happens?
Yeah, they're beaten up and you lie on the ground when all have left.
I'm going to watch this.
And outside of the shop, Sojiro fixes all of them. That's why you don't leave. Think about it. You cheated on all of them, but Sojiro is such a smooth talker that all of your social links remain intact.
Wow, this is great. Sojiro is the fucking best.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I think he has mother powers. He is basically the mother of the family.
Yes. Oh, dude, the moment where and that's why we can wrap it up pretty soon is the moment where you give Sojiro your notebook, and in the end he's looking at the notebook once you leave. Dude, I had tear in my eye. That was touching moment.
Yeah, there was several with Sojiro. When he Futaba called him dad in his social link.
Oh yeah, that was wow. Yeah, that was great.
So there were a lot. Sojiro was really one of the characters that came off as like annoyed with you, but
he hates you
turned
and things
around
like
really,
that.
really much when you learned about him. So that was really rewarding.
We never found out, or correct me if I'm wrong, but we never found out if why Sojiro took him. Because he only stated once that he already got paid. But by who and why? And
his family most likely paid him. Because they still...
Yeah, but why Sojiro?
Sojiro,
why did
it's
they pick
implied
him?
because he worked for the government and that he was involved with his mother. And because the case with Futaba's mother was wrapped up, it's implied that he left the government because they covered it up. And
yeah, I know
so
about all that.
He
yes,
is in a similar position like the main protagonist, because Yusuke asked him, "Why did you take him in?" And he said he reminded me of myself. So
maybe he's a friend of the parents or some mutual friend, and he took him in because he was reminding him of himself.
Yeah, I think that is the reason why. And
because
and
the
also
parents get never brought
his
up.
fucking restaurant is called LeBlanc, and LeBlanc is the creator of Arsene.
Oh, interesting.
There's a lot of these kind of references.
That's a lot of trivia for today, man.
So it was fate. He had to go to that cafe.
Okay, yeah, it's fucking.
And that's a perfect ending point for this podcast, because this podcast was also fate, and all of you subscribing to our channel.
Of course, you need to subscribe now. Thou art I.
Let's build a social link.
Yes,
we and you guys. Let's what tarot card are we? Are the world. Exactly. Let's build the world social link.
Yeah. All right, that's a podcast. Here next time. That was great. With me here was Wraith. Twitter @FluffyWraith. And I'm Sammy at Sunsetoro. You will see that on screen right now if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you for listening. Hear you next time.
Goodbye, chosen one.
Yeah.
What else should I be? Please don't take off my mind. Here around in front of me is where I found an empty glass, reflecting that's a tree. It's telling words not to be told. I need that mask. I'm a shapeshifter at this masquerade, heart in both face and mind. I'm free for you to draw. I'm a shapeshifter, chained down to my core. Please don't take off my mask, my place to hide. I can't tell you how to see me. Just a cage of bones. There's nothing inside. Will